Welcome back to the Nerdrotic podcast. I am live in San Francisco, California. My name is Gary Beekler. I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and down in San Diego is my good friend and co-host and fellow Nerdrotic, Dennis Bathalkis. What is up, Dennis?
Not much. How about you? How are things going?
Things are going good. You know, got back from work and I'm podcasting. Oh man, there we go. There's the damn thing. Sorry, I'm here. I thought I hit mute on that and I didn't. So you know what? Bad. That's the second time I've done that. I've really got to learn that. Welcome to the Nerdrotic podcast, episode 118, where we talk about everything under the sun when it comes to fandom, geek stuff, comic books, movies, TV, everything we cover, but nothing serious. Except for maybe divided fandoms. That'll probably be our theme tonight. But first off, we do want to do a recap. It was requested by a couple of our subscribers that we recap Black Mirror. So Dennis and I decided to watch one episode. We were able to watch one. And we watched the Star Trek theme one called USS Callister. So, we'll recap this episode and then we'll get to your chat and we'll open it up to discussion. We also, I can't bury the lead on this one. We reached 1,000 subscribers, Dennis.
Nice.
Yeah, man, that's crazy because we started the year. We're coming up on our 4-year anniversary for our podcast, by the way. Been doing this for a while, but we've been doing YouTube seriously since February of this year. We started the year with 30 subscribers, 80 videos, but they were basically just mirrors of our podcast. Not trying to do anything special, and 30,000 total page views. We're currently standing at 1,012 subscribers, 178,000 page views, and the bulk of that, half of it, has come in the last 3 months since October 1st.
Nice.
If I'd like to thank Star Trek Discovery for anything, it's for bringing attention to this channel. And
STD, catch it.
Yes, we got ourselves a case of STD and we like it. We're not even going to the clinic. And then Mr. Robot after that. And before that, American Gods helped. And just humbly thank you all for subscribing and sticking with us and enjoying us and taking place in the chats, which is lots of fun. So Dennis, real quick, let's go over Black Mirror, the USS Callister. Lots of underlying, not so underlying, but lots of very obvious themes in this one.
Yeah.
But what was your takeaway from it?
At first I dug Jesse Plemons, who played Robert Daly, his take on Shatner. It was pretty funny. And then of course it took the decidedly, as Black Mirror does, the dark turn that all the episodes take, with him, stealing coworkers' DNA. By the way, we spoil everything, so you obviously have watched it. If you haven't, don't watch this portion of the podcast. You can come on back. So, I found it a neat little twist that this guy is a game developer, an online game developer, who has found a way of, I guess he takes people's DNA and actually puts them there in the game itself, but his own cordoned off section of the game. So his skin of the game, which has been skinned into a Star Trek-like theme of a TV show that he likes. Cordoned off section of the game. So.
You hear yourself there? Sorry.
Yeah. And so, it took that decidedly dark turn where he is abducting people against their will, if you will, and sticking them in the game and forcing them to do things, just all based on if they pissed him off in the real world or not.
And I guess we've all known somebody like this, and at times we've felt like somebody, like this.
Yeah. Everyone has those kind of dark, at one point or another, you have that dark notion, I guess you could say, or idea or daydream, if you will, but not to this extent where, some people do to this extent.
Yeah. It looked at things, but it depends from your point of view on how you see this episode. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you could look at it as very anti-Gamergate. I think you can find whatever you don't like and like within this episode, because I thought it was pretty even-handed in some aspects, not in all, with how it dealt with. It was just dealing with this character, okay? And I thought they could have gone a little deeper in some stuff, but he was the lonesome, passive aggressive, just socially awkward nerd who helped create this company and was resentful against everybody for every slight.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter
even
how.
The guy, Parker, I mean, the only reason why he was there because he gave him the wrong sandwich.
Yeah, so this is a very angry and sick individual, and a narcissist and a sociopath who just couldn't express himself. So he takes it out on this game where he takes everybody's DNA and replicates it, and which would be amazing technology, and basically clones people into this game, has his own pocket universe, and takes it out on people sadistically. And on the surface, it really looks like, and I'll just come out and say it, this is what Hollywood, even though this is a BBC production, this is how entertainment in a lot of ways sees Star Trek fans and Star Wars fans. This is how they see them. It's not fair, but again, we're just taking one character, one trope, and taking it as dark as they can. And I thought that was pretty interesting. But make no mistake, not to get controversial in the beginning, but I've known some creators, and comic creators in particular, which I will not name, who loathe their fan base, loathe them.
Oh yeah.
And it's really got nothing to do with the fan base. It's got everything to do with they wanted to go write novels or something, and they think comic books they just don't like it. It ended up what they were good at, and that's not where they wanted to be. They wanted to all be screenwriters or something. And that's kind of what the problem with comics is a lot of people just don't want to be there. And that's the big difference from the 80s and the 90s when people just wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Now that's not everybody. Okay. Of course that's not everybody. But you can see, and you can tell. And a lot of people, I've seen the journey of this in particular writer I'm talking about go from, thought he was too good for comics, loathed comic fans, then came around and started appreciating them. So he did come around. Again, I will not name him, but he came around. And started appreciating and becoming grateful for, what he was successful for. But that's a lot in entertainment. There's so many people, even in the low end I was in, there was people who everybody had a script, even Technicolor, compressing data, everybody had a script. But this takes a really sick turn. The main character, what's his name again? What's the main character's name?
The main character's name is Walter
Daly. Walter Daly. Yeah.
Robert Daly.
Robert Daly. Sorry. You had a little sympathy for him in the beginning because it kind of looked like the people at work treated him like shit. But that really wasn't the case. I mean, it looked like more of a normal work environment as it went on. And you lose your sympathy for him pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
and I thought that kind of took away from the story a little bit, because you were just waiting for him to get what he has coming less than halfway through. And I think it would have been a little better if who was I'm terrible with names, but the character we were following, the new girl,
Nanette Cole,
who,
by the way, played the mother on How I Met Your Mother.
That's where I saw her before. Yeah, she was great in this, by the way. She was really, really good in this. And the acting was good in this. And our boy from Westworld, Jimmy, I'm terrible with names.
Yeah, I love him. He's Jimmy Simpson. He played Walton.
Simpson, yeah. And he was great in Westworld.
Yeah, he actually had a great line in there when they're singing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow. And when Nanette slaps him, and he's like, he's a jolly, oh, fuck me. It just made me laugh. It was a one little thing, but I love Jimmy. He's been in lots of different genre stuff, and he shines in this one, of course.
Yeah. So all we see, instead of we don't get a lot of the work stuff. Okay, so we're just going on just little snippets of them wronging Robert in some way or another. He somehow gets their DNA, replicates them, puts them in this game, and it stops becoming like, I think it's kind of over. I mean, even though it's in the whole Star Trek vibe, right? It really isn't. It's about a game more than anything, and they just give it the Star Trek aesthetic. But and you know, you can look really deep into this and talk about like he represents the fandom. I think that might be going a little too deep into it, but that can be interpreted that way. There's a lot of different ways to interpret this episode. And you know, I watched it a little bit in the morning and I just watched it again right before here. And I have kind of two different feelings about it. I liked it more the second time I watched it. But I still think that it would have been better to show the work people kind of giving them more shit, you know? Because like, as dark as he goes, and they also should have gone into the whole, like, you're replicating humans from DV, they're perfect digital copies. So there's a lot of meat there that they didn't touch on, you know, and there's a lot of whys, like, okay, if this guy can do this, like, what's the applications for it? Or, you know, we're just in this workplace. They don't tell us anything about the world. And I guess that's a good part of the story. And that might, you know, ruin it. I just wanted a little more sympathy for Robert, because I had zero for him. I was just waiting for him to get done in.
They even dance around the question, because Parker even asks Nadette when she comes in, he goes, "What year is it?" And they skip it over really quickly. If you notice that.
Yeah.
So they never give you a year as to when this happened. So it could be in the future, it could be now. And it was just, you know, very ambiguous, which I thought was kind of interesting. But also the ramifications I got out of this too was, if you're, you know, digitally recreating someone's thoughts, memories, all that kind of stuff in a game, you're basically creating you know, immortality, if you will.
Oh yeah.
By sticking these people in a simulation or a pocket universe.
Well, because they retain their memories up until the point they're put into the game.
Yep.
So each person thinks they are that person, except minus their private parts, that was funny. I got a little Dogma flashback when Jimmy Simpson dropped his drawers and there was nothing there.
Yes.
And that's when Cole said, "Okay, I draw the line. It's killing my pussy." That was funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
So then they get into just like some hacker, you know, stuff where he's got this communicator, right? That he has to stop the game and gets a pizza, and
it's the outside world calling, basically. So it's linked to the outside world.
So yeah, so the game's not closed up. He has this game pocketed off from basically his version of Google or whatever it is.
Yeah, from the internet.
Yeah, his version of the internet, and that's a pipeline in. So Cole, and he does some horrible things to her when she doesn't start playing along right away. He takes away her face, so she's gasping for air, but she won't die. He's turned other characters into hideous monsters. He turned one office guy into like Khan, you know. Yes. Dude, just the beginning parts, like when they beamed down to the planet and they did that little that was hilarious. There was some good stuff in it, and the effects were great. The sets and the effects on this show. This is a pretty show. Like there's a lot of money going into this, man.
Oh, by the way, so those of you that are commenting right now, we're going to get to your comments probably at the end of this. A few more minutes. We're not ignoring you. We're just kind of giving our take on it first, and then we'll get to you guys.
Yeah.
So we're not ignoring you. There was, I don't know, it just kept going back and forth. I mean, when they brought out that what he did to Watson to keep him in line when Watson was the only person there, where he cloned his son.
Yeah.
And spaced him. And I was like, damn. That's really dark at that point.
And Jimmy Simpson's like performance during that, when he's talking about his son, you know what happens to a body when it, you know, hits the vacuum of space, it just turns into like porcelain and breaks and stuff. That That guy's a good actor. He needs to get in more stuff. I was really disappointed he's not going to be in Westworld season 2. I guess we're not going to get more flashbacks, but maybe in the future he'll come back, or maybe they're lying to us. I don't know.
If you want to see him in actually a fairly decent show, it was called Breakout Kings, about a group of prisoners who had broken out of prison before, and now they're working for the government to catch escape prisoners. So they actually get brought out on furlough so they can capture escape prisoners. And he was in it for 3 seasons. He was pretty good.
That's good. That's good. If I ever have time.
If you ever have time, yes. I'm just saying it also.
I barely have time to watch the TV we recap.
Yes. It's just stuff I've seen.
This damn day job. It's really getting in the way of things, man. So yeah, so after he does that, I'm just at that point, I'm like, okay, kill this MFer.
That was the final straw. They had to do it so you have zero sympathy for him. And you know, no one really wants to see this guy live at this point, Robert Daly, you know.
Yeah. And then they do something pretty clever. You know, Cole decides to blackmail herself with nude pictures she has from the cloud. So they have to They have to get that little device, right? So they beam down to a planet. She takes them out skinny dipping, even though they have not skinny dipping, but she tries to get them out swimming. They beam the device up. They're able to make a phone call. And before that, she was able to send herself a message, which kind of gave the heads up to everything. So later on, they that's their pipeline in, and she blackmails herself. And this is where it gets a little weird, you know, where she has to talk herself into ordering a pizza and planting a new, when they get into this game, they put this little device on their head. So they go, you know,
virtual. Yeah. It's basically a virtual reality. And the whole thing is the game Infinity is going to be updated on Christmas Eve.
Yep.
And the update has actually somehow logged into Robert Daly's closed off version as a black hole, or a wormhole. Excuse me, not a black hole, but a wormhole. And the group on the Callister, USS Callister, has theorized that if they go through it, they'll end their existence and get rid of it. So they're blackmailing Cole in the real world to go break into Daly's apartment to steal all their DNA samples, which he's been keeping in the freezer or refrigerator next to his desk in his apartment. So he can't just reclone them again. And also to switch out his little mind device so he can't get into the VR world there. And it works for the most part, but they didn't plan on him having a backup to get in right away. And that was where the race against time happens, which I thought was kind of funny because that's a total Star Trek move. Where
no, that was great. That's where the episode picked up for me again. And they're flying towards that wormhole. They got they even got the lollipop. And then Jimmy Simpson's character stalls them and kind of gives them a half-hearted apology. Is like, hey, you know, I'm sorry I did this to you. I'm sorry I took your company. I'm sorry I took advantage of you, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I would be sorry, but you threw my son down an airlock, so F you. And that was great. And then he dies. And remember, they're going to this wormhole just to kill themselves, to get the hell out of this hell, this waking nightmare, as they said. And then the funniest joke of all. So he gets trapped in his little shuttle, and he can't get to them in time. So he's kind of screwed. But when they go through the wormhole, I thought they got this backwards, Dennis. I think they should have started in the Abrams verse and then, you know, maybe gone to the original track, but that's fine. And we get lens flares. and they're in Abrams Star Trek, which was, I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, the whole thing, they kind of set it up though too with the, you know, his pocket universe that he had on his desktop. If it was ever found by the reason why he kept it cordoned off, the skin from the internet version, was because if the internet version found it, it would actually find it as a what did they say? It was like an errant pocket universe, and it would delete it. It would delete everything from it. That's how he had set up the code, which you think, if he was the guy that coded the game to begin with, he would have set up something so it wouldn't erase that to begin with. All coders would do something like that. So it was just, there was some kind of, you know, I know it's supposed to be a story. messes up the end and all that stuff, but a competent coder would actually do that. So,
well, I think she made the point though that coders make mistakes. They always do.
They do, yeah. But would be a really big mistake. He wouldn't just keep that. He would have a backup there so if it ever got erased somehow, that he could actually just reboot it again easily.
Yeah, and I think they kept that open. Okay, so but when he got his second pizza, he stiffed the guy on the tip, and this is in the real world, and then he put up a do not disturb on his door, and they're off for 10 days. They said that in the office for Christmas. This guy's a loner. He lives in a big, giant smart building by himself. And when he gets shut down, he can't exit his game. So he's stuck in that in Infinity without food or water for 10 days. So we assume he's gonna die. When they make it through Infinity, everybody but Jimmy Simpson's character makes it. The one girl who was turned into a monster was returned. The other girl, the receptionist, who was again, some of these people were horrible people to him. They were, that's why that's kind of mixed. And I think they should have focused on they made him just strictly horrible. And I think, you make it more of a Twilight Zone / Black Mirror by making pretty much everybody horrible. Like you make it a little gray, otherwise though, so they make it through, and Cole is the captain of the ship, and they're free to roam the cloud forever, and they get confronted by a guy, which I love. The ending was great, man. That last little bit, King of Space. I thought that was good. Now, how did you interpret her little cocky grin at the end? Was it just yay me, I won, or
there's a lot to discover? There's a lot to
discover, or she just going to turn into another,
another tyrant.
Another tyrant, yeah.
I thought she was, it was just more or less that there was all this potential to discover, all these new things. Like she said, I don't care where we go, just go.
Yeah, let's go fuck off somewhere.
Yeah.
So that was cool. So that's the end of the episode. And we, did you like it?
Another thing that actually kind of bothered me though too is when he's chasing them, is why didn't he just take himself out of the game then, and then restart it, and he would just appear on the bridge? Because remember, if he takes himself out of the game, the ship stops. He
couldn't exit the game though. Remember, they stopped him from exiting the game when he was in the shuttle. Now before that, yes.
Well, they stopped him from exiting the game when he was in the shuttle. Yeah. When he was chasing them. When
you're right. I think he was just. I think we're supposed to assume that he just wanted to get revenge at that point, or something.
And he was just chasing them, and
it was reasons. Which I hate that excuse, by the way. So, did you like the episode?
It was okay. I mean, it had some laughs to it and stuff like that. It wasn't anything that I know everyone's going, "Oh my god, you got to!" I mean, I think IO9 is actually saying, "Oh my god, you got to stop and watch this episode. It's best episode ever." And it's like, no, it was good. It wasn't.
I don't even go to IO9. It makes me burst blood vessels. I try to run from everything they like, and I think they're everything wrong with fandom. Have I made my feelings clear on IO9?
I don't know.
F IO9. Other than that, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Was it the best thing ever? No. But Black Mirror's good. Love the concept of the show. I mean, Twilight Zone is my all-time favorite show. So I love anthologies, and it's well done. I think it misses the mark. It's more Night Gallery than Twilight Zone, by the way. And I think it purposely, it's not trying to teach us a lesson. It's just going, we're going to punish people. This is it. It's punishment. This is hell, basically. So sometimes there's a lesson in some of them. And I didn't watch I'm going to watch the rest of the season this weekend, and we'll talk more about it on Sunday when we do our next live cast. But man, let's get to the comments because they are building up.
Someone asked, are we going to do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? We did on the last. We're basically kind of doing a wrap-up of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So unfortunately, since it doesn't air for another, it's airing now, excuse me, we're not going to get to it tonight, unfortunately. We're not going to get to...
Dennis, a little later, you can sum up like what you've seen so far. That's totally cool.
I haven't seen tonight's, so I mean,
Okay. You know what? Sunday. We'll talk about it Sunday. I'll watch the episode tonight, and we'll definitely talk about it Sunday. Ghost World. So Ghost World starts it out with, totally off topic here. I think it's settled. Godzilla versus Destroy is the greatest Godzilla movie ever made. Your thoughts? I thought Destroy All Monsters, man.
Destroy All Monsters was good.
Destroy All Monsters. No, you know what? Have I seen Godzilla versus Destroy? I mean, I don't know if I've seen it. Is it old? Is it new? I can't remember.
No, Destroy All Monsters is old.
When I was like, I know Destroy All Monsters is old, but I'm talking about Destroy. Is that new or something?
I haven't seen it.
I need to watch it then.
I do like the old King Kong versus Godzilla, the Japanese version, and the dance that they do. You know, the dance. Yeah, that's always my favorite.
Brian Smart says, "Congratulations, gentlemen, on reaching 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for being as big of nerds like myself. Can't think of a better way to spend my last hours of my birthday. Happy birthday, Brian! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!"
But I don't want to lose subscribers. Dennis has a beautiful singing voice, though. We'll save that for a 4-year anniversary. He'll sing Amazing Grace.
I'll sing the national anthem. How about that? In the home.
Oh, God.
Hey, you asked for it.
Where did I get this shirt? I got it at the Comic Outpost in San Francisco, the store I used to own. They used to sell worker shirts, like red cap shirts. There's a Punisher one. There's a Logan one. There's a Hulk one. They all but Captain America, they have a little name tag that says Bruce or Logan or Frank. This one says Cap. It's got a shield on the back. They don't make them anymore. These things are badass. I love them. They're like 10 years old. I break it out for podcasts. It used to be my work. I used to rotate these every day at work at the Comic Outpost. SF Fanboy says, "Hey guys, what's up, SF Fanboy? How's it going?"
Turbo Tyrant says, "I wanted you to review this show, and you're doing it. We did it just for you, Turbo Tyrant."
We did it. We did it just for you. Now I'm gonna follow you home and watch you sleep tonight. You don't mind, do you?
I'm already there.
You're already there. You beat me to everything, Dennis. God.
Screw you guys. Discovery is a good show. I'll debate you all tooth and nail. That's Ghost World. Ghost World, you've caught the STD, and we're glad you have.
We love you, Ghost World. We do. And it's okay to like. I'll say it a million times. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's bad.
I'm watching From Dusk Till Dawn, the TV series, and I watched one of the worst episodes in season 3. I mean, it was bad. People were fighting for no good reason whatsoever, and I'm like, really, what the hell are you guys doing? And I watched the entire episode, and I felt bad about myself afterwards.
Oh, Dennis loves a lot of crappy stuff.
Oh yeah, I do.
You are known for it, but that's okay. And I like some crap too. Con Air is in my top 5 movies of all time. Okay,
put the bunny back in the box.
Put the bunny back in the box. I want to get it. That's going to be tattooed on my back. That's what I'm doing this. That's all I'll do for my 50th birthday. There were moments in the episodes when I thought he was going to use the Force. Would have loved them to have gone there. That would have been kind of cool if they've done a little mixing.
Yeah, that was the nod to it. I know that's what they were doing, and it was funny because that's what he was doing. And I'm glad he didn't. Tell you the truth, it would have been a little too Matrixy at that point. So I'm Brian says it was okay, but not great, but okay. Found some faults with connections between First Doctor's canon.
Oh, he's talking about Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that's a response to.
Ooh, Vin Bake Show. My guys, watch this episode from Mogadishu. Hey,
dude.
Cool.
What's
Glad
up?
to have you with us.
What time is it over there?
God, I don't know.
Must be like 24 hours later. It's probably the same time, but just another day. Brian, we will be talking about Doctor Who. I will be talking. Dennis could care less, but the unfortunate thing I'm going to be talking about is the apathy of Doctor Who. The ratings were not good, and I was wrong. I thought they would be the best ratings. I thought they would have won Christmas, but they were 6th in the UK. That's the article I read anyway when I was in line at the grocery store. So I should probably read another article to verify that. But it was The Mirror. I'm sure The Mirror is known for its.
The Mirror
honesty.
is very accurate. Yeah,
it's very accurate.
Facts finding and
yes. Turbo Tyrant, but the face thing made me think of Agent Smith of the Matrix. I almost wish he said something Agent Smith-esque at that moment, right? You know, what did I think of with the face thing? What other thing? Oh, Doctor Who.
I thought of that was actually a direct reference to a Star Trek episode, Charlie X, where he removes, the girls are laughing or the people are laughing at him, and he removes the face.
Yes. But there's a Doctor Who without that. It is in the Matrix too. But you're right. That is the direct reference to there. Well, okay. He's asking Jody a question there. Turbotron. It wasn't a perfect story, but it was entertaining. It was very entertaining. I thought it was very, very entertaining and well done. And I know I definitely want to watch the rest now. The first one I saw, Black Mirror, was the first episode, and the pig effing episode, which is kind of based on a true story a little bit. And that was some dark. Yeah, it disturbed me, but I was entertained. It was even dark for us. All right. Got any more comments you want to read there, Dennis, before we move on?
Here. So from Ghost World. So this is a show that focuses more on the overall theme and story and point of the story over the characters and continuity, etc. So the premise and moral of the story is the focus. Not really the moral of the story. Again, like we said, it's more just the premise. And
I think it's premise. But there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's I think it was probably pitched like, let's do Twilight Zone without all that moral stuff and just have some fun. Let's just go dark. And that's cool. That's cool. Netflix is kicking. I know this isn't totally Netflix thing. It's a BBC thing, but I think, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but Hollywood is feeling it from Silicon Valley. They are feeling it. And I noticed it with, it seemed like a coordinated attack on Bright. Now, love or hate Bright. Dennis and I both enjoyed Bright. Okay, for what it was. I don't think it was the greatest thing ever made, but I thought it was just really weird that I saw article after article after article and post after post just hating on this thing. And if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a 29% critics rating and a 89% audience rating. So the disconnect is getting weird, and it's getting more and more obvious every day. I mean, something we all obviously knew is those studios have people. And a Deadline and Hollywood Reporter. Christ, they might even own one of them. We don't. I mean, I don't know. Variety. It used to be that critics and entertainment reporters were hated because they had credibility, and like Rex Reed. They even went as far as to putting him in a Superman movie that he didn't like, which was great. And because that man had integrity for a while, he lost it eventually, like they all do. But it's the divide, and it's not that everybody's paid. It's not. I mean, we see it with Star Wars. It's not that everybody's paid, but it's in Collider's best interest. It's in Variety's best interest. It's in IO9's best interest to love Star Wars or Star Trek, because you get access to actors, screenings. You better your chance of getting into Comic Cons with press passes, because that does, Comic-Con handpicks the press passes. They're like, oh, they're a little too negative. They're not going to go in. They're going to bring in the nice people. Okay. And it's turned into, you don't have to just be nice. You have to be kind of a kiss ass. And I think that's why YouTube is growing. I know. Stating obvious here. Just put that right in here. I am stating the bloody obvious. But it has to be said. Why are channels blowing up on YouTube right now? Because the ones who have credibility, because they're just blokes in a room talking, and they can give us all the shit they want. I don't care. Nobody does really. And they're not saying we're not going to sell it. We're just waiting to sell it. But until that happens, we will be credible. I promise you. I promise to tell you when I sell out. I'll let you know.
Dump truck full of money backs up to my driveway.
Still waiting for it.
Jody says here, hey, I watched Smallville from season 1 to 10, so who am I to judge? Exactly, man. I did too.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
sorry.
your avatar picture is, I did too, and I felt like the rug got pulled out from under me in the last 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I still dude. My wife and I watched every episode together, so it was cool. I mean, I like Smallville for what it was. I do, but that ending really pissed me off, and it was kind of an F you to fans.
Sorry, Ghost World says, cough, Kevin Smith, cough.
Right?
Speaking of sellouts, yes.
Oh my God. Did you see his Star Wars review?
Yeah.
The worst one is one guy that I like. The other guy, I don't watch him very much, but it's been talked about on another podcast, but Angry Joe and Monday Matt both put out like just shredding Star Wars. Monday Matt's was actually his first initial one was brilliant. And was honest. And then he went back on it. Like 2 days later, you go back on it. And I guess that can happen, but it seemed very disingenuous to me. And I think he probably started losing subs and started freaking out a little bit. Just stick to your guns, man. I mean, it's okay that you don't like a movie, but there is a change.org petition out there to get rid of Rotten Tomatoes for Star Wars fans to boycott Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's only got like 600 signatures, but that's funny.
Jody asks, Ghost, wait, what did Kevin Smith say about Star Wars? Well, he liked it. He said it was the best movie ever. So
yeah,
he gushed about it as usual.
And he poo-pooed any of the complaints about it. It wasn't a horrible review. It's just again, he's not making money. He even says, I'm not making money. But the thing is, he knows people who worked on the movie. Okay. So he doesn't want to shit on his friends.
Yeah, he wants to keep working in Hollywood. That's the reason why he's doing episodes of Supergirl and Flash. He's directing those things. That's why he's directing now more in TV than he is doing movies, because it kind of burns. Well, also Weinstein no longer is there anymore, so he doesn't have that avenue anymore.
That was one of his boys. Was one of his boys. Comic Book Man was one of the worst TV shows.
Still is.
It still is one of the worst. I can't believe it's still on. My God.
I can't, because
and now I know how like a doctor feels when he watches ER or something like that. You're like, that never happens. Like, here's my Daredevil #1. Boo, boo, boo. It's worth this much. It's like, shut up. No, it's usually a guy really desperate, wanting the cash right now, sniffing a lot, sweating. No, at least it's San Francisco. I can't call for everywhere. But
Annika says, hey guys, love your podcast. Congrats on reaching 1K and keep up the good work. Thank you, Annika. Thanks for watching, and thanks for helping me be a part of that as well.
Thank you, guys. I was super humbled and stoked, and man, that was like Christmas again. It really was. When we reached that, I didn't think I'd be that happy, but I had a good day that day. I had a couple good things happen yesterday. One is 1,000 subscribers. The other one, I'll tell you next week. I can't say anything now.
And Annika says, well, I actually shared a lot of Kevin Smith's opinions on Star Wars. We're not saying your opinions are wrong. We love that people love the movie. It's great. I don't, I didn't like it myself. I know Gary didn't like it. And we're not saying that because you like it, you're wrong. Everyone has their own different opinion on it. So,
yeah, we have a host on this show who liked it, John.
Yeah,
John liked it. And that's okay. If they would have given Luke Skywalker like a badass battle at the end, I'd feel completely different about this movie. There's tons of problems with it, but if you really dig deep, I mean, I know we picked the movie apart, but you can actually pick the original trilogy apart. You can, as far as plot holes and stuff like that. But the hero's journey is there, and this trilogy is missing the hero's journey. And the mentor who's supposed to die just died. Actually, two of them just died, and the way they treated two characters that I've loved and followed since I was 7 years old was really crappy. And I don't mind there being a new Star Wars, and I want there to be new stories. I kind of wish, I was hoping to see the original crew get back together. They never fully did, so that's a missed opportunity. Never had any problem with them dying. Although couldn't just Leia and Han have gone off to Space Palm Springs and retired? Would there have been something wrong with that? Does everybody have to freaking die? Luke becoming a Force ghost, totally cool. And we've talked about this so much. I don't root for anything to suck. I never do. I wanted this to be good. No matter how I felt. Actually, Force Awakens looks like a lot better movie to me now compared to this. It really does. Because it did set up some kind of interesting things. Okay, that could, if they were played out right, would have been very interesting. And Rian just poo-pooed him, in my opinion. But
yeah, someone actually brought.
Cool.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's totally cool if you like the movie. I mean, the problem with me is I'm an older Star Wars fan. I saw the movie before it was called A New Hope, and that comes with a lot of crap. So,
someone actually, one of our commenters on our video of Jake Skywalker said Luke didn't even kill his father when he had the chance, or the Emperor when he had the chance, because that is what a Jedi does. And this is someone who's pure freaking evil, and yet he was going to kill a sleeping kid because that was completely out of character.
That's and the fight at the end.
Yeah, so that those are our main points right there. We're just going, okay, you just kind of negated everything that came before it so that you can prop up these other characters in the exact same roles of the older generation. And you're basically just rebooting the entire series. You might as well just remake the movie then.
Just reboot, yeah, and they're going to remake it. And I still in love, because I'm in love with all my ideas. Well, not all of them, but like remake it as a TV series. Like make it, each movie, like A New Hope, make it 3 seasons, 10 episodes each, and dig deep and like really remake it. Like give it a bigger world, go way more into the government stuff and be more interesting. And that way you could just like change it. You can fundamentally change it, but do it good. I mean, not necessarily go Game of Thrones, but plan it out, Plan it out. The radio dramas are a great example of what they basically did was adapted the novelizations, and they were so excellent. I still listen to them. They are so freaking good. I remember the only voices that showed up from the original trilogy were Billy D. Williams later on, Anthony Daniels, and Mark Hamill, and everybody else was voiced by somebody else. But if you haven't listened to the radio dramas, they were great. Great.
Ghost World says, but guys, the point is he didn't kill Kylo. I don't get the hate for that scene. He had the choice in front of him, and he literally chose the right and Jedi thing to do. He literally did the right thing. What more do you want from him? LOL. Well, the thing was, he actually made the decision to walk into
and sparked his lightsaber.
Yeah, and sparked his lightsaber up and standing over a sleeping teenager ready to kill him. He didn't even do that.
Not even his own son. I can say there's actually a higher responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay. You're sensing evil in your sister's son and your best friends. For one, if I sense darkness in my own child, let's go there. I would just probably join them, but probably just go, okay, fuck it. It's my kid. Let's go conquer some shit. No, that's the only thing. Him merely thinking about it, yes, totally. Sparking the lightsaber while standing over the kid, well, then Kylo has every right to act the way he did.
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of maybe in the writing room or when Rian was writing it, it sounded like a good idea, but you just effed Luke Skywalker as a character. Now, if you wanted, and I know that was their little nod of Luke tampering in the dark side, because there's been a lot of that in the outside canon. You could have done that this movie and like kept him till the next movie and then have him have his final battle next movie and like have him tampering around the dark side, have something to do with that little pit of millennial reflection, dark side, millennial narcissism. That's what I saw in the pit of the dark side.
I call it the hipster hole.
The hipster hole. No, I know it's Star Wars and it's important and people want to defend it and that's awesome. I want to defend what's good. Listen, I tried to defend Spider-Man 3, not one of my prouder moments in life. Okay. But I just didn't want to see that it sucked. What? Besides the dancing scene, everything was fine except for all the crying and the stupidness. And, it's a lot like Spider-Man 3. I think it is. I mean, I think it's a good franchise that was doing good. Again, The Force Awakens didn't ruin it. I think this movie might have ruined it. It did for a lot of older fans. If you're a newer fan and this is kind of what you're into, then it didn't. And there's a future, and they can still fix it. The next movie, they could totally fix it.
They're gonna have Leia wake up from a dream and go, "Oh my God, what was that?"
Yeah,
it never happened.
I mean, I'm not going to say it's dead forever, and not for everybody. It's dead forever to some guys, and yeah, some of them are old crabby fanboys. I don't consider, for one, we're fan men. I've said that before. We own our basements, but and our moms live somewhere else. Finally, got rid of her. No, just kidding. But I think it's fixable. It certainly is. And if they get past this and do another trilogy somewhere else, I'd be really interested to see that. So, it's a tough position they're in. It's really, you got to satisfy so many things that I do respect the fact that they tried to satisfy everybody, and that usually ends up very badly. I just don't think the people in charge now are the right people in charge.
Yeah, Ghost World says how to fix it. Give Kathleen Kennedy Das Boot. Yes.
Das Boot. Yeah, she's got to go. She listen, she is a good producer. Okay, and producers, and I said this last podcast, they kick a lot of butt. They get everybody in the right room. They get the money where it needs to be. She's a good facilitator, but as far as creative input, she's pretty bad.
And Lawrence Kasdan as well. Lawrence Kasdan has to go.
He's got to go. He's way past his prime. He was very good.
Bring in Dave Filoni, who's been working great stuff in the animated stuff. He's actually grown the Star Wars franchise, I think, more authentically than anybody else has in the last, decade. And it's been really good stuff that he's been putting out. So put him in charge of the movies.
Mark, agreed. Did they do something right? They did something right in, if you consider dividing the fan base, something right. It certainly gets a lot of people talking about it and keeps it out there. And I think it actually, all the negative talk did give it a boost on the day after Christmas. I think there's certainly, but it's important to people. And, this is where we talk about stuff on podcasts. Actually, we were going to be past it, but then some people still want to talk about it, and that's cool. I mean, I'm not ripped up by this or anything personally. No. I am well over it. I saw the movie, didn't like what I saw, went on about my day. But yeah, I think there's a good point there that like, it's still, man, there's still tons of videos, and we will be talking about other stuff very shortly. So
yeah, I kind of treat it as Indiana Jones 4, like it never really happened, doesn't exist in the trilogy of things. And
again, John's on holiday right now, or he would have joined us and he'd be defending this movie.
Yeah.
And he's got good arguments to defend it. So but yeah, I don't want to be the hate Star Wars channel. There's plenty of that going out there right now. And we don't hate the fans. We want the fans to get what they deserve, which is good Star Wars. They put a lot of time and money into this, and it's got quite the fandom, considering that the fandom has almost died a couple times. When it initially ran its run in the 80s and it was over with and it was nowhere, then it got revitalized in the late 90s. And it got revitalized again, a few years back. So I hope it stays that way. I want it to be good. I do.
Yeah. I was just actually watching a Simpsons episode about a sci-fi convention that was going on. This takes place in the 90s, remember, when Star Wars was just before the special editions came out. And Mark Hamill was showing up at Springfield at the BiCon Sci-Fi Con is what it was, or Bi-Mon Sci-Fi Con. That's what it was, the bi-monthly Sci-Fi Con. And he was selling Sprint to the audience there. That's what his job was. To come out on stage and sell Sprint to everyone. That's how far down he had gone Star Wise is what you're, at that time.
Yeah. And Turbo Tyrant said Hamill doesn't want to end up like the dude who played Vader, who's banned from everything Star Wars. David Prowse, yes, because he got rightfully screwed. Because the reason being is even today, Return of the Jedi has not turned a profit. So says George Lucas.
Yeah,
which is total. That's Hollywood economics. It's Hollywood economics. Prowse signed a bad deal too. He had bad representation. They should have saw that, and they took advantage of him. But he also did this. That's all he did. Well, he did talk through the mask and stuff, and be tall. That was pretty much it.
He was voiced over because his voice is a little too whiny.
No. So I'm going through that. Yeah, Dave Filoni needs to be the guy. I agree with that.
Yeah, Gennady Tartakovsky's Clone Wars was awesome, but Gennady's fighting his own battles now, movie-wise, I guess you could say. He's on Hotel Transylvania 3, and he's been trying to get stuff off the ground so often. He just keeps getting the rug pulled out from under him. He's a great guy. He just has been in some really crappy deals movie-wise and things like that. And he's just done some really good work. He just never has been able to catch any ground, traction on anything, which is kind of disappointing. But yeah, Dave Filoni definitely should be taking over the Star Wars series.
With Turbo Tyrant, I agree to you 80% on that. I think Disney tried to throw like the weakest of, olive branch, whatever, just tried to throw a little bone out to the fans, not what they could have. And they are totally ready. And that's something I want to get into later, which is I think Hollywood really wants these properties, and I think there is I don't know, they must get together, okay? Because it seems very coincidental that Star Trek comes out, Star Wars comes out, Doctor Who, and they do these radical things that they know is going to piss off the fan base, and maybe they want to do that. Maybe they just want to be free of the hardcore fans, so they don't have to be beholden to canon, and they could just, I think they saw, and Midnight Edge just talked about this. I think they saw the success of the first Abrams Star Trek. We're not talking the last two, but the first one, and that one made actually the most money of any Star Trek movie. And it was the least, I enjoyed that first one, but it was the least Star Trek. Oh yeah. It was just an action movie. That's all it was. And there wasn't any of the themes or anything in it. And I think they saw that and they're like, well, that's what we want. We don't want to have to map all our damn universes. And I think they just want to be free of that stuff. We want you, they want everybody to buy everything still. They just don't want to put the work in. That's it.
They're tired of the dogma.
They are. The problem is you got 40 years of fandom with Star Trek, almost 60 years of fandom with Marvel Comics. You have, 50 years of fandom with DC Comics. It goes back 75 years. The hardcore fandom still runs those things and always will. That you're not going to get rid of those people. So they need to find a way to either stop doing this stuff if it's so hard for you to make something good. And it's hard to make something good in Hollywood. Okay. Because of the egos. There's tons of creativity, but the egos screw. There's still, even Marvel, which is considered, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is considered perfect.
It's a great idea, but I want that giant spider in there.
There's still like Perlmutter. There's still the faggy Perlmutter thing that is keeping the Defenders from showing up in the Avengers and stuff. So that we're always going to have that Faggy, whatever.
It took me a second there to realize who you were trying to say there. And
Faggy. That's a very unfortunate last name. Okay. I'm sure he got made fun of. That's probably why he became such a good facilitator. I can tell you right now, the guy's probably an ass kicker when the camera turns off. He's, rules with the iron fist, scares the hell out of people. But everybody wants to get the version of him to run their cinematic universes or anything. But he's like Babe Ruth, he's like Jackie Robinson. There's only one of him. Whatever he does is magic, and Disney needs to keep him around because look at Warner Brothers, look at Paramount with Star Trek and CBS. They can't get it together. Marvel has done some things that were way out of canon and changed characters and stuff, and nobody's had a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like zero. Why? Because the stories are good. and they feel like the comic books, and they keep the themes similar. They're way out of continuity now, and they throw in stuff like a little bit of Planet Hulk of Thor, and they're doing just enough to please the fans. Now I know Marvel fans are way more forgiving than DC fans. Believe it or not, us Marvel fans used to be called Marvel zombies for a reason. So I don't know, man.
Do you think we should go into some news?
Well, yeah, let's catch up on our comments real quick. I forgot where we go. Okay. There we are. Sorry.
Excuse me.
I got the Blu-ray of Samurai Jack, the entire series. Love it. I wish they released the Star Wars Clone Wars on Blu-ray someday. Hell yeah. Oh my God, I love Samurai Jack. It's so genius. I love both versions of the Clone Wars. I really do.
Yeah, I love both versions of the Clone Wars as well. I mean, especially that last season that wasn't aired that ended up on Netflix was actually fairly decent.
That was good. That was really, really good.
Yeah.
No, you were on me to watch that, and I finally did. I'm like, God damn, that was good.
Yeah.
The only thing of the Clone Wars I didn't like was the movie that they showed in the theaters. Like, just started out, that was like the only one I thought was kind of boring, but after that, it got really good. I loved how they treated it, like what halfway through
I did find it funny that the Gennady Tartakovsky Clone Wars ended right where the Revenge of the Sith started. Because that's why General Grievous was breathing that weird raspy.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. No, and that's cool. And then the rest of the rest of it kind of happen. Well, it leads up to it too. I can't really see.
It takes place. Yeah, right before everything else happens. In Revenge of the Sith.
I wish they would just do a show now, and that Darth Vader comic that's out is very good.
Yeah.
It's very good. If they just did a show on that would be awesome. But with the Han Solo movie coming out and now a Kenobi movie, like, I don't know how well those are going to sell. And the Han Solo movie coming out, I heard, is just, I'm hearing bad things about it. So I don't know. I don't root for things to be bad, but watch out. All right. So like, kind of boring, underestimated. Okay. You're right. Get us to the news, D.
Okay, so I'm gonna start off with a birthday today. I know normally we do deaths, but I'm gonna do a birthday today. Nichelle Nichols is 85 years old today.
Lieutenant Uhura.
Yes.
85.
85. Yeah,
live them all.
And yesterday was Stan Lee's birthday, and he turned 95.
Stan the man, 90. It's still going. Is he still doing appearances? We've heard like 5 times he's going to quit. I know he's cut down, and he lost his poor wife, which is so sad.
Yeah.
But I know Stan gets a lot of shit. But
I did an appearance recently.
Yeah, I've met him a few times, and I even got to see him outside of Stan mode. He called Lloyd Kaufman. He cussed. We were at a charity thing. This is back in 2007, and I won some charity thing, so I got to go hang out with Stan, have lunch with Stan, and we hung out in a yacht at Comic-Con, which was awesome. And I'm forgetting his name now, but I completely blanked his name now. John Densmore. He was the drummer for System of a Down. He was with me. And he had the big Torpedo Comics thing that's at Comic-Con all the time.
Yeah.
That might not be his name, but it's the drummer from System of a Down. We were hanging out, talking to Stan, one of the better days of my life. And Lloyd Kaufman, from the Toxic Avenger, comes up with, I'm not even kidding you, like a marching band, like a little marching band, and like these plump girls, go-go dancers dancing, like, out of nowhere, like walks right through our charity event and cuts between me and Stan and John while we're talking. And he drops an F-bomb. I saw Stan Lee drop an F-bomb. I was like, what? That made the whole thing great. And you saw Stan for a minute there. He didn't have his little game face on, which he has on most of the time. And I'm pretty sure that's how he is most of the time. But he dropped an F-bomb. hand to heart. I saw it. It was unbelievable. That was and yeah, me and John like looked at each other and our jaws were on the ground. I could not believe it. And then he turned it right back on again. He's, hey, true believers, be, oh man. Good times at Comic-Con.
Stan Lee also says that $300,000 was stolen from his bank account with a fraudulent check. This was just as of today, and the police are actually investigating that as well right now.
Damn. Well, he has lately surrounded himself with a lot of suspect people. Oh, I will say that. We had people approach my store at the time offering to do Stan Lee's event that weren't affiliated with Stan Lee at all and like wanted down payments. There was a bunch of fraud surrounded. It wasn't like him doing it, but it was people using his name. So, and I know the older he got, and again, he's a nice guy. And once he started getting really famous, that's when the vultures come out, and some of them got their claws into poor Stan. Cost him a lot of money in the past. He's had money problems in the past, but it's more due to his naivete when it comes to Hollywood. So yeah, it sucks, man.
Krypton on Sci-Fi finally got a premiere date of March 21st.
Oh, I can't wait. Brian Smart kissed Uhura in 93. You the man.
Nice.
Respect. Respect.
Oh, by the way, I just saw Turbo Tyrant says he wanted to throw a monkey wrench into this. Did everyone give up on Inhumans as well? Yes.
Yes. That was like the one show we've started that we quit. We kind of rage quit it.
Yeah, it was bad. And we just said, we can't do this one. It's just, there's nothing redeemable about it. I stuck around for 4 episodes and I was done.
Yeah, at the end of our last recap, which was I think the 4th episode, it's got Lockjaw on the art on ours. At the end, we're like, we can't do this anymore. I just can't. I got to stop. And that sucks because I don't know. It's never been the most exciting comic in the world. It's had moments, but I love the design and concept of it. And Paul Jenkins, Jay Lee, little 12-issue mini for Marvel Knights back in the day was great. And they've done some good. The Black Bolt, the current Black Bolt comic's pretty good. So yeah, it sucks. But I think that was also made in the same way that Corman's Fantastic Four was made, was to keep certain rights somewhere and to keep them away from somebody else. A little bit of, again, the egos between Perlmutter and Kevin. Oh,
and Brian, just so you know, Gary ended up getting a kiss from someone from the Superman movies. Do you remember who that was?
Sarah Douglas.
Yeah, Sarah Douglas. She was actually very fascinated with Gary.
She was flirting with me.
She was.
If I wasn't married. Yep. Definitely. Her and Non. It was they were at the booth, and that was awesome, man. Yeah, she was so freaking cool though. She hung out with us and talked with us. Yeah,
she was a fun lady. She's fun,
hanging all over us. Lots of hugs. That was cool.
We also have a live action movie coming from Disney for The Little Mermaid. Big surprise there. They're making all their animated hits into live action movies.
I'm telling you, they're going to get to the Robin Hood one.
Yeah, eventually.
Live action Fox.
It's going to be CGI with live action characters.
Yeah.
Okay. Shazam started filming in Canada this week, of all things, which was kind of weird that they
tax breaks.
Well, yeah. And our final thing is Young Justice Outsiders, which is also known as Season 3, is going to premiere in late 2018 on Netflix, which I can't wait for that.
You're going to have to wait, though. We've been waiting for years for that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, hey, that's a good show. It's a damn good show for a cartoon. Yeah. It's good, and that might be the last good cartoon series for superheroes. I loved it. I'll watch it. I'll watch it with my kids.
Annika asks, "Can you guys choose your favorite Stan Lee cameo? Do you guys even remember them all?" My favorite is still right now Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with Stan Lee with the Watchers. It just makes me laugh every time and it actually promotes the idea that Stan Lee is actually a Watcher and has been all these different characters. He's all the same character.
What's the Hugh Hefner one?
That was one of the Cap movies, right?
No, I thought it was like Iron Man 3. I can't remember. The Hugh Hefner one.
Oh,
That's
it
my
was Iron
favorite
Man
one.
3. Yeah.
Yeah. That was my favorite one. But yeah, him and the Watchers, that's got to be up there. Because I love the fact that that Gunn has come out and said that pretty much makes all Marvel movies exist. They all exist in some form or another, which that is genius. That is genius. Yeah, what they did to Medusa was horrible.
Criminal.
For one, my favorite female superhero character, because Amazing Spider-Man, I believe it's 73, where it's Medusa's like she's got Spider-Man all wrapped up in her hair, like perfectly describes my marriage. If a comic book cover perfectly described my marriage, especially when I owned a comic shop and my wife owns a salon, that was it. Was the hair strangling Spider-Man. In a good way, in a very good way. But yeah. That's always good. What comic book cover perfectly describes your relationship? You know, yeah. With shaving your head, that was the dumbest. That is the single dumbest thing ever in anything.
Save the money on special effects because that hair is expensive.
Because I want to see Medusa with a Medusa. She was Medusa with a shaved head. Fighting people, you know, it's like, you know, yeah, but the CG was pretty bad in the first episode, so I was like, ooh, where are they going to go with this?
Brian
says IMAX cameras, but we have no CG budget. Yeah.
Brian says, I'm here with an interview with the drummer of System mentioning the same story, Gary. Really?
Really? That's awesome. He backed it up. System of the Down drummer. I think his name was John something or other. He was a cool guy. He had I think Torpedo Comics is still there. I think he still goes to con. I'm not sure what happened to him, but I stopped going to con as a retailer back and I became just a regular fan in 2013. So I can't do all that fun behind the scenes stuff anymore. Not yet anyway. Although we'll be back at Comic-Con.
Yes, we will.
This year, whatever, later next year.
Next year. Yeah, we only got a couple more days before next year.
And this year we're going to actually, or next year, we're going to actually do a show after everyone. We always say we're going to do, and then we're freaking tired by the end of it. But we're going to try to pace ourselves. It's kind of like Vegas. Actually, con is exactly like Vegas now. You lose a bunch of money and you're freaking tired.
Yeah. Yes, Miss was it? I just saw something here and I lost it. Turbo Tyrant says Black Bolt is overpowered but never uses it, which is lame. Yeah, true. I mean, but this is a guy whose whispers can level, a city for the most part. So yeah, he is very overpowered.
Yeah, and just and then him not having a mask. I know it's like probably not the worst offense of this TV show, but dude. His costume's brilliant. Like, why would you take away his mask? And especially when you're Marvel, you're like the one that does the costumes. You're not Fox's X-Men that just is absolutely afraid to do costumes at any point, which, that'll be the one good thing about Marvel buying Fox is we'll get X-Men costumes. Who will they be on? I don't know. Yeah, he did. Game of Thrones boy sucked in Inhumans so bad. He really did. And he was so good in Game of Thrones too. But I think he, like all the other actors in this, he saw that, oh, I don't need to work too hard on this. I'll just get my paycheck, roll in,
and
leave. But yeah, man. So I wanted to talk real quick. Give me a few minutes here if you guys aren't Doctor Who fans. Okay. I know Brian is.
All right. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be back.
Yeah, whatever. Doctor Who did the controversial thing of regenerating into a woman, and that whole splash and that whole argument happened summer. And it didn't make that big of a splash. I mean, it trended on Twitter for a day. A lot of people complained about it, and then it was over. And we rolled around to the Christmas special. We had a okay Christmas special. And then we had the regeneration. And I was thinking, man, this is like, love it or hate it, this is the biggest regeneration there is. And I am getting into a point that's actually going to involve Star Wars and Star Trek. So hang with me on this one. So we do this. There. We do the sex swapping thing, which they've done in Marvel Comics, and it seems like it's almost tired at this point. In some aspects it works, in some aspects it doesn't. I always think it's in a way it's really sexist because you don't think a female character is strong enough to start from scratch and, you know, take the time to invest in it, make a new show. You have to slap an established label on one. Yes, it was mixed into Doctor Who canon, but it was mixed in recently, and you know, whether you like it or not, it happened. So when it did happen, it didn't even come to thunderous applause. It came to nothing. It came to crickets. Doctor Who finished 6th place for Christmas Day in the UK. It only attracted 5.7 million viewers. That's horrible. It should have been the highest rated Doctor Who since Tennant left, which was around 10 million viewers. And it was beaten badly by a couple of really weird shows. EastEnders, I can see. The Crown beat it, and some other show I'd never heard of, some comedy. And I think it's dead. And I think this actually does the female Doctor the greatest disservice. They brought her in at the end when the show was dying. They're giving you a year break. And then the superstitious thing is she's the 13th Doctor. And then the first time she touches the TARDIS, it explodes, which is definitely, no, I don't want to even say.
Is that a sexual thing?
Or is I don't know. Yes, I don't know. I don't know. It was actually a pretty good regeneration. Okay. And yeah, I don't think the show stands much of a chance now. I think they've alienated a lot of fans, and it wasn't even because of the female situation of the Time Lord turning female. I think it was just the writing of the last 3 years. Peter Capaldi, who was a great actor, did a good job, but was given such crappy writing, inconsistency, bad scheduling by the BBC. And again, we have a split or broken, or even worse, an apathetic fandom. And that seems to be the case. That seems to almost be the theme this year. Star Wars, Star Trek, trying to do different things. I definitely want them to do different things. And I'm sure they're thinking to themselves, the Star Wars, Star Trek, and Doctor Who is like, hey, we're doing different things, and they're complaining. Well, yeah. You know, you usually got to stick with your guns through it. But you also have to write well too. And yet I think they should bring in, especially with Star Trek, they should bring in more people who understand Star Trek, not Akiva Goldsmith, who was, you know, wrote Batman and Robin. Need I say more? But with the Doctor Who thing, it went from anger to a split fandom to apathy. And that's what definitely, if people don't think this can happen, and what happened to Marvel Comics over the last 2 years. They tried a lot of different things. They tried swapping out characters. They tried doing legacy characters, all in the name of all new, all different. And this was supposed to lead into the next cinematic universe. There's the whole diversity angle too, but this is all about money. This is all about money. They wanted new characters. They wanted to be able to recast the movies and not have to pay, you know, expensive actors and just do this stuff forever. Thing is, they did it too fast. Instead of like integrating it slowly, they wanted everything now. And this is the year of split or breaking fandom. And in Marvel's case, they're having to go back to basics because they had their ass handed to them by DC. They're not selling comic books anymore, and they're freaking desperate. So they're rolling everything back to the way it was before, which I don't know if that's a great idea either. There is a way, and you know, I'm not an expert in this, but there's definitely a way to appease your fans and do stuff different. What's a great example is, it's not everybody's favorite comic or show, but Runaways. Runaways is a great example of doing something new within the Marvel universe and making it fit. You know, there's things you can do. Even, you know, the Oroville, did a lot of good things. I know it's back to like it's supposed to be a satire of the 90s Star Trek, but it's not. It's like kind of a legit show. So, and I can see that show getting more serious as time goes on. So, I don't know. We'll see what the people think of that. I just think that there's been a lot of divisive. I mean, it's held over from all the BS of 2016. And it's now divided fandom. Now there is the aspect of this is the boys club and the boys club needs to be broken. And just as a married guy, you, when you bring your partner into a house, you have to make concessions. Okay. That's just a fact. You can't live
compromise.
Compromise. That's what it's all about. So we need a fandom that can compromise. So we got one side and neither side really wants to do that on the extreme ends. Most of us normal people don't really give a crap. We're just like, give us good stories. But usually what controls anything is the extreme end of anything. So I don't know. Let's go up to that.
Annika was saying that no one really watches Doctor Who. She lives in the UK and says that only kids usually, really watch it. That people her age don't really. They're more into comedies and dramas now, not so much Doctor Who.
That makes sense.
And she even
probably why it's on Saturday night.
Yeah, and she says they should even bring back Captain Jack.
Okay, yes, I would have. I would pitch that to my wife. Hates Doctor Who but likes Torchwood for some reason. No, I love Torchwood. I just weird that she likes that and doesn't like Doctor Who. But I was like, they should, if they brought like River Song and Captain Jack and put them and made a Torchwood around them, that would get better ratings than Doctor Who. I love that show. Hell yeah. I do not know why they didn't bring Captain Jack. I guess they just didn't want ratings, because that would have been the highest. I don't know. I think it's Moffat's ego, or he pissed off Moffat. Don't be surprised at all with this next Doctor if they bring Captain Jack back, or even some version of Tenet. The Meta-Crisis Doctor or something like that.
Well, now that Barrowman isn't doing Legends of Tomorrow or Arrow anymore, he's not he's not Merlin.
Jody said, "Whoa, you kissed Ursa." She kissed me.
Yeah, he's got it someplace that
it's on my Facebook somewhere. Yeah, I got a picture of it. It's surprised the look I'm like, this is I really liked her when I was 10, when she was in Superman the movie. Superman throwing a bus at him. So sexy. All right.
And we also have Ghost World says, but wait, there's a big difference here. Marvel tried this whole introduction of social agendas when they were making money. They did,
and that's the best time to do it, and it failed, and it failed because of just the execution. It got they got obnoxious. That's the only thing, is like, I don't mind politics and stuff as long as I don't feel like I'm being beat over the head, even if it's crap I agree with. It's just, it takes me out of the story and it's annoying. Politics have always been in comics and they'll always be in stuff. I'm not that sensitive to it, but it was just the whole attitude under Axel Alonso. And you know what? The attitude matched the man. I know the guy. And a lot of times a business will reflect its owner. A lot of times, every time. And I think he didn't act as an editor very much. An editor is there to edit and to keep stuff out from alienating anybody. Because as a business person, you don't want to, like Michael Jordan says, even Republicans buy shoes. Okay. So you want to sell to everybody. You could still make your point. There's still ways to do it. It just got really, really obnoxious. And then the whole weird Twitter attacking people on Twitter, but there's two sides to that argument too. There's a lot of trolling going on and stuff. I don't want to get into that, but just as far as quality of comics, the quality went down. Marvel is still making good comics. There are some, a lot of people like to focus on the bad, but there's been some good, like Thanos and Black Bolt. There's good stuff out there still. DC's just been kicking ass.
Turbo Tyrant and Annika are both talking about the CW shows and how Turbo Tyrant says that the British community would probably like the American CW channel a little bit more. And Annika says, she says, you have no idea how many people love the CW TV shows around here. There's a lot. I'm one of them. I actually watch all the CW shows. They're not perfect. Some are better than others. And I'm looking forward to Black Bolt coming out. So it's, or Black Lightning, excuse me.
Black Lightning?
Yes, Black Lightning.
I liked them all in the beginning. If you want listen to any of our earlier podcasts, we are ginormous fans. I like the first 2 seasons of Arrow. I like the first 2 seasons of Flash. I'll go back and catch up. I just stopped with Legends of Tomorrow. That kind of was my favorite.
Yeah, that's actually a lot of fun still.
Did not like Supergirl at all, and it's just purely because of the acting and the story. Just the acting. It's bad to me. That's it. Yeah. But I like the CW stuff. I do. I think it's getting a little long in the tooth. I can definitely see it succeeding in the good old UK. I love the UK, by the way. London is my second favorite city in the world. I've spent many a day there. And my wife goes out there to the Vidal Sassoon Academy and teaches sometimes, and I get to tag along. And unfortunately, she's gone, so I throw on a backpack and walk around London for 2 weeks by myself, and it is good times. Love that town.
Ghost World asks, anyone watch the Archie show Riverdale? Our co-host John does and loves it. I don't. I know Gary doesn't, and I'm just not a big fan of like how should I say this? Really soapy kind of YA
stuff. Yeah, I don't want to. It's I watched
like Pretty Little Liars.
I watched the first half of the first season, and it wasn't terrible. It's just not my cup of tea.
No, not mine either.
Yeah.
And I know that John and Melissa were reviewing it for a while there, and I don't know what happened with that. So
Melissa gets she got busy. She'll be back. My wife will be back reviewing when we hit Westworld and Expanse, and she will be back next Wednesday for the X-Files. Yes. So yeah, she had a commitment for the entire year that kind of took her out of podcasting, but she is done with that commitment and she will be back. She's the smartest one of us all by far.
Looking forward to Constantine on Legends and his new animated series. Me too. Sean Stredick.
I will be talking about it. Dennis will probably join me. We will be talking about the animated one. And yeah, we'll probably end up. I freaking love Matt Ryan as Constantine. Yeah, what did you guys think of the Constantine show? I love the Constantine show. It was flawed. It was on NBC.
I love it,
but I loved it.
I love the little cameo that we had at the last episode of Legends of Tomorrow, where he shows up on board the Wave Rider and smoking a cigarette, telling Sarah that there's some supernatural crap that they need to deal with, which I thought was brilliant.
Yep. Looking forward to Constantine. Okay, on Legends, yeah, we're caught up there. They need to. Why aren't they giving him a show?
That's a good question.
The Justice League Dark movie, I think that's got a lot to do with it.
It's probably so. I mean, every time they use a hero or a villain or they want to in the movies, they sidebar it on the CW shows, which is really stupid. That's why we don't have Deathstroke anymore. He's been taken out of the mix because he's now in the Justice League movie. Because
I know
fans get confused.
We had a great comment that's saying, well, based on that logic, then the Flash shouldn't have a show.
Exactly.
And the Flash has done infinitely better on the CW than it was in Justice League.
Brian Smart says, any of you guys remember the show Mantis? Yes. On Fox. And actually, the guy who plays Mantis is now the father of John Jones on Supergirl.
Really?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, I got an idea. Cloak and Dagger is coming soon, which is one I know a little bit about. Anyone else excited? I actually am. Cloak and Dagger.
I'm excited and afraid.
I'm excited and afraid because it's freeform. But Cloak and Dagger showed up in like what was that sweet spot of the Spectacular Spider-Man was a better comic than the Amazing Spider-Man back in the very early 80s. And just that whole, actually both books were great. And that whole run where they first appeared and came through, it was that was so good. So a huge fan. Love their origin. It was like one of the darkest origins. And yeah, but man, Freeform, it's like, God dang it. But I said that about Runaways, and I got to say, Runaways is really damn good. If you're not watching Runaways, man, go on Hulu and watch Runaways. It's got a little bit of a slow start, but it really gets going. And it's got its soapy elements because it's Josh Schwartz, but it's dark. It's really dark. And that's what makes it good.
James Hayes asked, do they still have to pay creator royalties off the films over characters? Depends on the deal that the creators had with the original comic book companies and if those transfer over to the rights as well. Sometimes they just get creator credit. Sometimes they get money. It all depends on what the deal was that they had set up initially. Some get screwed over.
Ethan Van Sciver has a great channel called Comic Artist Pro Secrets. Sometimes he gets political, I will warn you. So no matter what side of the aisle you're on, he's on a certain side. So I'm just going to say that. But some of his videos, and some of his videos get into that, but other videos just tell you like behind the scenes stuff from comics while he's drawing a picture. And it's awesome. And he recently talked about how creators are paid on their characters. And with DC and Marvel, it's considered an incentive now. So what you do is you sign your deal and you get what's called creator equity. Okay. So if that creator or if that character gets put into a movie and stuff, you do get a percentage, but that's now when DC Comics changed from DC Comics to DC Entertainment, they screwed a lot of people. And they had to rework deals, and they got so much shit that they went back and reworked the deals. So DC made it right. And DC's always been nicer to the creators since the whole Siegel and Schuster thing from back in the 70s. They've always been better to shops. They've been better to creators. They actually had a liaison to shops. Marvel's been awful to creators, to comic stores. It's you know, before Disney, during Disney, that has not changed about Marvel. But they get a percentage. It depends on the deal you sign. Now, when you create a character through Image or something like that, you pretty much own it, but you got to be wary of the deal you sign in Hollywood. If somebody options your character, they give you a certain amount of money, but you really got to read that fine print.
Yep.
Because they'll David Prowse you. They'll go, okay, well, you get some money off the back end. If it turns a profit, you'll get a piece of the gross profit percentage. Well, Hollywood economics can make everything lose money, and you'll never get paid. So you always want to get as much upfront as you can. And I know people who have been absolutely screwed. And you're supposed to get credit all the time. If you helped create something, unless somebody like pushes you out or you sign away that credit, you're supposed to get credit for co-creating characters. You know, like Spider Jerusalem is a great example of a character. Like, everybody thinks Warren Ellis, but it's actually Derek Robertson who based him off of one of his friends and pretty much designed him from scratch. I think the tattoo was Warren Ellis's idea, and that's it.
I don't know if I could say this name, but I'm going to do it anyway. Sloppy Bukaki asks, anyone remember the show Family Matters? Who doesn't? To echo Ghost World sentiments, it's Sergeant Al Powell, you know, from Die Hard. It's his family show.
Oh,
I mean, come on. Annika asks or says, I would really love to see a Zatanna TV show. That would be awesome. Yes. We've talked about that before on this show. We would love to see a Zatanna TV show. It would play out very well, especially if they followed the Paul Dini storyline that he did back in, what was that, 2007? 2008? Something like that.
They're probably asking way too much to get her original design with the top hat and the fishnets. You know, but I saw there was some concept art for Justice League Dark that got what's her name from Game of Thrones, and they just slapped it on her, and she looked kind of hot topicy. It is one of her incarnations, and it looked pretty good. I thought so. Yeah, Paul Dini writing it. Paul Dini needs to run the DC universe. There's I don't know why he isn't. He must either not be a strong personality or just flat out not want to do it.
He's not a strong person. It's ever since there's been a lot of talk about this. When he got mugged a few years back, he had kind of lost a lot of confidence in things. So that's why he has fits and bursts of creativity and then disappears for a little while because of this thing keeps eating at him.
It must. Gen 13 is it a DC owned property?
Yes.
If it was under Wildstorm, did it go back to the creator or
no?
I
It's
think it's
DC
creator owned. Are you sure?
I think so. Why they bought out all of Jim Lee's
they
stuff.
bought out of okay. Was Gen 13 all Jim Lee?
I don't think I think it was part Rob Liefeld, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Too. So that's interesting. Yeah, the whole Wildstorm thing. Alan Moore. I was just Alan Moore kind of got screwed under that.
That's a mess.
Yeah, that whole thing was a mess. Alan Moore signed on to do America's Best Comics and do more I'm blanking on the name, to do more Tom Strong and stuff, and then DC sold it out to Jim Lee sold it out to DC without, and he didn't know. And Alan Moore said he would never ever work for him again. Then he stuck with it for a little while, and then said enough, I'm out of here. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen too, and which is too bad. But Alan Moore is kind of a nutbag. Jim Lee, our boy, Jamie Newbold knows Jim very well. Jamie Newbold is from Southern California Comics, and he has been on Pawn Stars. And what else is he going to be on? What's the show?
He's going to be on? There's a new History Channel TV show about collectibles, and he is their comic book collectible guy. Yeah.
So look, if you ever watch that or find that is my mentor. That's the guy who taught me everything I knew about retailing and
my former landlord.
And your former landlord, yes.
And good friend too.
Sloppy B is which I will choose to call him. Todd said has the script done and he will work with people who made and saw what he's at.
But he's also financing it though too. So you never know what that's going to.
The Bond movie, $10 million.
Yeah, $10 million.
And Bond's supposed to not be in it.
Yeah,
that's very interesting and bold move to not put your superhero in your superhero movie. We'll see how that works out.
RoboBrain 10,000, great name by the way. I always think that's pretty funny. What do you think of the box office for Infinity War will be worldwide?
Weekend or final?
Final, I think it's going to be at least 1.5, 1.8 billion.
Yeah, it's gonna inch towards The Force Awakens, not beat it though. It could beat The Weekend though. I think it will. I think that'll be a $200 million plus weekend. It'll be crazy here in America. The anticipation for that and everything's been good up to it. And Black Panther could be the worst movie ever made and it wouldn't affect it at all. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think Black Panther will just make it crazier.
I think Black Panther is going to surprise a lot of people by how good it is, to tell you the truth.
I don't think people would be surprised if a Marvel movie's good.
No, I'm talking about,
I think some people are hating on it unnecessarily. I don't think it'll be the greatest movie ever made.
No, I don't think so.
I'm looking forward to it.
One of the top 5 Marvel movies, I think.
No, hell yeah.
Let's see. Dennis and maybe Jody says Dennis and maybe Tim Hunter and just do the Vertigo verse. Sorry, I left out the context on that one. Sorry, I don't know where we were in the conversation on that. He also says Paul Dini and Bruce Timm together would do great things for the DC universe. Yes, we've mentioned that before. Bruce Timm, I don't think would go back to it, to tell you the truth. Paul Dini, and again, I think it's just because of the demons that he's got going on with that whole mugging thing. I don't think he's going to go into it either. It's unfortunate, but I think.
God, I hope that doesn't break him.
Yeah.
Okay, as far as Tim Hunter and the Vertigoverse, that would be amazing if they got into the whole late 90s Vertigo thing and just went crazy with that. I love the original Books of Magic, that 4-issue series with Constantine. It's so good. It is so freaking good. That's my favorite Gaiman book. And yeah, I'm okay with Sandman, but I love Books of Magic. I like Gaiman in small doses. Although I love American Gods. That was a great show. really sucks that Fuller left that. But I'm a huge Vertigo fan, so I would love any of that. I want to see them do Justice League Dark right, if they did it right. That would be the movie I look the most forward to. I wish Marvel would do their own version of that too.
After Midnight Suns, after Guillermo del Toro left it, well, of course, because he was attached to about 20 different things. Doug Liman had attached himself to it, which would have been really interesting to see Doug Liman do that movie. And then he was just like, this is not going anywhere, and he left and did his own thing. So that was disappointing. Now it's just dead. Yeah,
DC apparently was in their own studio that had their own literal studio, and it was separated from Warner Brothers. That is now over. Warner Brothers is bringing it all in, and that could be for the better. And Jeff Johns, poor Brian Michael Bendis, who went over to DC to work on comics and also to be more involved in the movies. The guy he attached himself to got demoted, Jeff Johns. So I feel bad for Brian Michael Bendis. What is the mugging thing, James? Paul Dini got mugged, and it wasn't just mugged. I think he got the crap beat out of him pretty hard.
Yeah, so it was a pretty vicious mugging, and he got attacked. He was in the hospital for a little while, that kind of thing. So he's having a lot of PTSD, all that kind of stuff, and still has flashbacks to it. So he's not 100% himself what he was back then.
He must have got thrashed. Not like a typical San Francisco mugging where somebody will just rip something out of your hand or something like that and leave.
Or spray with pepper spray and leave, I
agree with you, Turbo Tyrant. A lot of the peripheral geeks are new. We'll call them new nerds. Just haven't read a lot of Black Panther. They love the idea of him and bought his pop vinyl, but I don't think they've read a lot of the old comics. Man, the Kirby stuff is beautiful to read, just like art, and it was actually really good stories. So, and he really one of the most important. I consider him a core Avenger. Always have. I could be wrong about that, but the era I grew up in, he was always there. So I just considered him a core Avenger. And what I mean by core Avenger, I always think Black Panther, Vision, Iron Man, Thor, and Cap. Those are my core Avengers. And you can throw in Scarlet Witch and stuff, but those are that's what I think. I just saw Hellboy there. I was like, I love Hellboy.
He says, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, will they turn that into a Netflix show? Hopefully. That'd be awesome. Or an Amazon show.
I want everything to be an Amazon or Netflix show. I kind of do. I think that would be great. I don't know who has the right. I think it's DC has the rights to them, or Warner Brothers has the rights. But that would be to see that done right would be brilliant. That's probably my favorite comic. The first volume of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Favorite all-time comic.
Brian asks, what was the name of the Marvel alternate line that had titles Kickers, Night Mask, Justice, and DP8?
Was that Marvel? That was a Marvel 2, was it?
Was it Marvel Now?
No. I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Man. I'm going to have to look that one up. Thank God for Google. I know there was Marvel 2, but that was Spider-Girl.
Yeah. What was that? I just lost it.
That was from the 80s, yeah. New Universe. That was the New Universe. That's right. God, I should have known that one. See, getting old.
Yeah.
Old. Yeah, the New Universe was supposed to Kickers. Oh my God. Man, so that must have been in the that's 75 cents. So that was mid 80s.
Mid 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
Ghost World says, but wait, it's not Black Pantherous. It's too patriarchal for audiences now. Marvel has to make Black Panther a sassy black woman. They actually did for a little while. As a matter of fact, just recently, T'Challa just took back over the mantle because his sister had taken it away from him because he had lost what it was to be the Black Panther. And she had actually stolen it from him. And died in the process in the comics. Spoiler if you're reading the comics or haven't caught up, but he's taken back the mantle of Black Panther because his sister died after she had taken it. But she learned
was she more powerful?
She was actually just about. She basically kicked his butt, is what she did.
Okay, well, yeah. See, you can't have that without her kicking his butt.
Yeah.
I can't wait for this whole matriarchy, patriarchy thing to just end. I wish it would end with like the Fantastic Four or Incredibles 2, and just a good like we could bring family back. That'd be nice. You know, how about men and women working together? I know, stupid concept, so outdated. But yeah, they did. And I hope Marvel, they definitely were going that way. I think they thought for a while they were succeeding because they were getting a lot of headlines with the whole, you know, all new, all different. And they were going to go that way in the cinematic universe. And I think they made a hard U-turn. And that's why they succeed, because they are flexible. I think they've changed their plans quite a bit on this run through the phases. And I think not having a phase 4 and just making some movies for a little while is the smartest idea, because you can kind of see where you want to go.
Yep.
Because this has mostly been Ultimate Marvel. This has been adaptation of the Ultimate Marvel universe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
Ghost World says, "What? But guys, Spider-Man is a core Avenger. Am I right?" No, he's not.
Bless your heart. Yeah. I still don't like that. I read the comics. I enjoyed them, and I still don't like it. Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't like Spider-Man being in a team. It just doesn't work for me. But that's because I'm old school. Has DC shown any signs of making a deal with Netflix to fill the void after Marvel moving away? I don't think they're going to, because they're doing their own streaming network, and you're going to see everybody under the sun do their own streaming network. And what's going to happen when all the dust settles is we're going to end up with 4 or 5 networks, just kind of like what we have now, except they'll be different. So instead of ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, we'll have Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, and whatever one out of the studios survives. Probably the Disney one. I don't know. Or Disney might just become Hulu.
Yeah, I think Disney's just going to become Hulu. And
yeah.
Sloppy B says Josh Brolin looks too small to play Cable. They should have had Jay Cutler play Cable. Well, now that Josh Brolin's taken roids, allegedly.
That doesn't help him grow. He is a short man, and he looks, that was the only little problem I have with the Punisher, is when you panned out and you see how tiny Bernthal is. Yeah. He's this little guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. Little guys kick a lot of ass, but he was little. Yeah, Josh Brolin, when you see him standing next to Ryan Reynolds, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, what was bothering me with Josh Brolin was he's chunky. And
no, he's not anymore, dude. He is
not anymore. Right now he's it's because he had help from a little vitamin S.
Well, I never believed the whole like actors have big heads thing. I always thought that was just like an urban legend until I saw him. He's got the biggest he's got like a size 8 head. It's big as my oldest son has a size 8 head. He is a huge little boy.
Got a huge noggin.
But he's got a body to go with it too. I mean, but
does he cry himself to sleep on his wee little pillow at night?
He'd your head's got its own weather system.
So I married an axe murderer, by the way, in case you people
yes. Yeah, he does look too small. Geo 616 universe or Disney. Well, I think Disney will implode under its own weight. I've talked about that on this podcast since the sale of. I've been alarmist since before it was cool to be alarmist. No, I thought I've always. It's not a fear. I have a worry, especially when I was owning a comic store, and God, I would have never made it through the last 2 years of comics. I would have just. I would have rage quit. I'm so glad I sold the store when I did. But my concern when Disney bought Marvel, and I always go back to this, is they went through this in a much smaller fashion in the early to mid 90s. They got a bunch of stock money. Everything was looking good from, the Sleeping Beauty and, everything was on an upswing, and Disney stock was some of the hottest stocks out there. And they went out and bought 2 sports teams. They bought the Ducks and the Angels, and everybody thought this is great. Disney's, and they bought ESPN, and they did the ESPN Center, and Disney was going to own sports and make this whole megalopolis down in Anaheim, and it failed miserably. And they ended up selling the teams. Will Disney end up selling Marvel and Star Wars someday? I don't know, but they could, or they could break it up. I mean, they could do whatever the hell they want. They could sell Spider-Man to DC, or, you know, what Sony hit hard times. Sony and WB not too long ago were the two strongest studios out there, kicking ass, making hits. WB had The Dark Knight, had, you know, Nolan's Batman. Sony had Raimi's Spider-Man. They were king of the world. And Sony had to sell back Spider-Man to Disney to make money because they took such a bath last year. So don't think that can't happen in a second with Disney. And they just spent 54. Go back to Star Wars. I'll never. When they were berating the rich people on Canto Bight or whatever it's called. And I watched it on that Thursday night, and that was the day Disney bought Fox for $54 billion. And there's an anti-rich people theme in the movie. I'm like, that's all I could think about. I was like, what? So yeah, $54 billion is a lot to lay down. I think they kind of overpaid, but I know they have this huge catalog now. But wow, I don't know how they're going to. When you buy expensive things, they are expensive to maintain, and to maintain a Marvel and Star Wars at the same time, especially when John, our co-host John, works for Disney in a peripheral fashion, and he's heard from very good sources that it's much cheaper to produce a Star Wars movie than a Marvel movie. Take that for what it's worth. You know, they can't keep producing both of them forever, and they can't keep performing at this higher rate. There's a law of diminishing returns. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is something you will never see again, ever. You'll never see something that successful again with that many movies. They got almost as many movies as the Bond franchise now. And yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Catching up on some quotes and some comments here.
Okay, that's true, Jody. Gary, come on. Wolverine is supposed to be a little guy, right? But like his name say, he's quite a scrapper. That is true. But the guy who plays him in the movies is 6'3".
Yeah.
I've always had a problem with that. Yeah, no, he is the ultimate scrapper. You're right. And he's supposed to be like, you know, Josh Brolin should play Wolverine.
No, John Bernthal should have played Wolverine. He's got the ugly face.
He does. Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy should play everybody. I think he should just play everybody. That would be my choice.
Ghost World says, actually, it's cool. They have that anti-rich people scene, as hypocritical as it looks. It's also a bit like taking the high road and proving that they won't censor stuff like that. Yeah, but also, quite frankly, that whole Canto Bight scene, that whole side mission, the video game side mission, could have been omitted just because they did that to bring in Benicio del Toro's character. And really, all they needed to do was hop aboard the ship, you know, say, okay, all we need to do is disable this one little portion. We don't need a hacker in order to get past the defense. It was kind of, honestly, it was an hour and 15 minutes worth of side mission that didn't need to happen.
Yeah. In particular, the rich person, the rich people or the arms dealers bad. That's what they were actually saying.
Yeah.
The whole breaking of the Space Vegas. It was stupid. It was, that's what around. But the thing is, I loved the little bit of, we build weapons for both sides. I would love for them to get way more into that. That would have been way more interesting than the whole Canto Bight scene. I just thought it was a little bit of it was disingenuous. It didn't fit in the Star Wars. Eventually it might fit in the Star Wars if you complete changing it and stop trying to do both things at once and just absolutely scrap the old one. Fuck it. Just do it. At this point, you might as well, and start getting into how you pay for things and how the First Order started, and you know, where did Snoke get his gold slippers and stuff? These are things I want to know. You know, and
he got it off of Pawn Stars. Actually, I think what's going to happen is Benicio del Toro's character, all the credits that he got for turning in Rose and Finn, is what he's going to use to help finance the rebels because, you know, he comes around to that whole thing. You remember I sell for both sides kind of thing? So that's what they're going to do. I mean, it's pretty obvious that that's how they set it up. But anyway.
Anyway, let's get back to the comics. We know we're going to go back down that road again. But that's an interesting way to look at it, Ghost World. That is an interesting way to look at it. All I could think of was the Disney sale, and I wasn't really into the movie at that point.
James Hayes says, is Diamond or Marvel worse for over shipping to and overcharging local comic shops? How was it dealt with?
Diamond just ships them. So they're not guilty of the overships for Marvel. They bring them. Diamond is guilty of a lot of things. A lot of things. But the overshipping from Marvel is Marvel. They are worse with it. And the thing is, they don't charge you, but they charge you the shipping and you don't ask. So you're paying shipping on things you don't ask for. And yeah, it's only a few bucks here and there, but you know, extrapolate that over the course of a year and that gets expensive, especially when you're a comic. There is no comic shop except for maybe Midtown and a Golden Apple that are not counting every penny. And it is a job of passion. It is not a job you're going to make a lot of money. I did okay. But it's just not. Diamond is guilty of being a monopoly by proxy. So they didn't mean to be a monopoly. They thought they would have competitors when they bought out Capital, the last distributor. And for now, over 20 years, they have been the only. There's Baker and Taylor, but they don't really count. They're the only distributor to comic shops that will get you comic books on Tuesday night before comic book day. Now you can get them from Baker and Taylor, but then you're getting your books later that Wednesday or Thursday. So they're a monopoly by proxy. So they've had no competition. So they've never had to really up their game at all. They don't have their computer programs are 10 to 15 years old. And they treat every comic shop like you're a first time customer. They're always trying to upsell you stuff. That's what pissed me off. Is like, I always thought maybe I was naive. I saw us as partners, but no, they saw me as a customer who buys stuff. Once I learned to play the game with Diamond, they could have been so much worse. Marvel does, but no, Diamond does evil stuff though. Sometimes they'll send you a bunch of damaged books and like not give you credit, or take forever to give you credit. I used to do, they had the credit card on file and they would double bill that thing like pretty much once every couple months, to the point where it's like, this isn't an accident anymore. But they also have like really good people who work there who've been there for years. Like Maria Galea is the poor credit lady who just gets abused every day. And I always tried to be nice to her because she's the credit lady. And she was actually really sweet. But and there were some cool people there and they try really hard. They could have been a much worse monopoly. Marvel were just aloof. They didn't talk to you. They didn't talk to anybody. They just said, we're Marvel. What up? You know?
Brian asks, if you had the ability to reboot any TV show, what would you bring back? That's a great question. I've got two shows that I bring back. I had to write them down so I remember them. Manimal and Space Above and Beyond.
Wow. Was the question two crappy TV shows that you would bring back, or
hey, come on.
TV shows?
You said reboot. You know,
out of all the TV shows in the world, you chose Manimal?
It had a great premise. Come on. A guy who can turn into any animal, but he always turned into either an eagle or a panther. It was because those were the two animals they had.
Logan's Run. Always been one of my favorite stories.
That's a great one.
Logan's Run, and what show? God, I think
that's the Planet of the Apes one that came out at the same time as Logan's Run.
That was good. Yeah, that's more of a movie. But and Space 1999, Space 1999, and Logan's Run. I know those are both early 70s shows, but as with Battlestar Galactica, which always had a great premise, as far as where they came from, what the story is. I think they have great premises that need to be modernized a little bit, but two really freaking cool shows that I loved.
Sloppy B mentioned Small Wonder
or Magnum PI, but you can't do that without Tom.
They are redoing that one, by the way. Yep, because everything old is new again.
Yep.
And yeah, Slappy B, Small Wonder was an interesting show. I would love to see that rebooted, but make it dark.
Herman's Head.
Herman's Head. Oh.
Herman's Head, dude.
Oh, make him a schizophrenic.
Oh my, yeah, make it dark. Like make it, yeah, put it in a Netflix show. Make it a Netflix show, and yeah, it's like
put him into a serial killer.
It gets a chance of killing somebody in a different way. Didn't they do that? It's called Split. What was the last Night Shyamalan movie that just came out?
The sequel to Unbreakable. Yes,
Unbreakable. I still have to see that. I heard it's really good. Actually,
it is. It's fun.
Hell yeah, Firefly. I mean, I thought that was too on the nose to say Firefly. I want to see Buffy back. I want to see the original, like, do a straight up Star Trek, 80s Star Trek with the Buffy cast and do a Buffy movie and figure out a way to age the vampires. Like, I don't know, they aged. Game over. I'd love for that to come back.
If your friends want to read comics but don't want to feel lost, how do you get them started? Ooh, that depends on where you want to start them off with. It depends on if they have favorite characters or not. Then basically find a really good series for that character and start them off with that.
Yeah, I start them off with like DC is great for that because they have all the Elseworlds and stuff. So you just start them out with a trade. There's certain people I would start out with the Runaways. It depends on your taste. After you own a comic shop for a while, you get pretty good at profiling. You're like, okay, I know what that's, so
what you read.
If there potentially could be an X-Men fan, I wouldn't start them with an X-Men story. I'd start them with the Runaways. Then I'd lead them towards the X-Men because it's more sprawling. Runaways can be read as an enclosed story. I would start them with something short and sweet. If you're not a superhero fan, you just want to read one of my wife's aunts asked me that, and I got her. She's just like, give me something to read, but I don't like superheroes. So I brought We Three Out by Grant Morrison, which is basically Home Again. What is it? Home Again and Terminator kind of mixed up. It's about a cat and a dog and a rabbit who were experimented on by the government and had they can talk and communicate. And it is one of the coolest stories ever. I love that. Just the whole dog thing it's freaking sad and a great 3-issue comic called We Three. But yeah, sometimes I'd plop Dark Knight down on somebody and go, yeah, start at the end, go there,
which is recent.
This isn't. Yeah, I guess you're talking superheroes, right? I was gonna pull out, but Kingdom Come, Marvels. Marvels is a great starter for if you want to just like know the history of the 60s Marvel universe, read Marvels. It's pretty art. It's really well done. But yeah, it really does depend on the person, and I've been out of the game for 4 years now. I sold my store on December 15th. That was my last day, December 15th, 2013. So, but I might be coming back soon.
Max Headroom reboot. That would be a good one.
Hell yeah. I missed, I was just in New Mexico, and I missed that George R.R. Martin wrote a couple of those episodes, and they did a whole Max Headroom screening at his theater that he owns, the John Cocteau Theater. And I guess he had a couple of cast members there. And what's the guy who plays Max Headroom again? I'm blanking on his name.
Matt Frewer.
Matt Frewer was there. I would have loved to have seen that.
Matt Frewer is awesome.
Yeah, they did a whole screening of the 2 episodes that George R.R. Martin wrote, and they did a Q&A. And
I loved his character on Orphan Black that was on recently. He played a really creepy CEO of this genetic augmentation company. So it was pretty kind of cool that he was playing.
I got to finish Orphan Black. I never finished it.
Yeah, I've got one more season. I didn't finish off the last season.
Quantum Leap will be another one to like go a little dark with, and they could have lots of fun with that show. Actually, I think that'd be. I would not be surprised if that gets rebooted within a year. That's a good premise for today. I think you could have tons of fun with that. Yeah.
He asks, why does he remind me of the father on iRobot with blonde hair? He's talking about you, Gary.
What was that? Oh, yeah, shut up. Anyone read Top 10? I used to. I haven't read it. I read it the first couple of years on the store, and I just stopped. The Tom Strong top 10 stuff. It was good. It just didn't totally engage me. And I love Alan
Sloppy
Moore.
B also says reboot Ghostbusters with an all-female cast.
That's a great idea. I think they should do it.
Great idea. I think that'll make tons of money.
It'll make tons of money. It won't alienate anybody, especially with get Paul Feig to direct it. Yeah.
And forget about the first couple of movies altogether. They never happened.
They never happened. Oh my God.
Are they going to reboot the FF movies for Disney? God, I hope so.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading. Hey, Nerdrotic, you remember the Maz Kanata character in Star Wars Force Awakens? I just realized now she resembled the Asian character in The Incredibles.
Edna Mole?
Edna Mole, who is right behind me, right there.
Edna Mode.
Edna Mode, yes. Who I cannot wait till she comes. That's actually a talking Edna Mode too. She will say 67 things. Darling.
That's a guy that voiced that voice.
Yes, Brad Bird.
Yes, which is great.
Totally. And I thought of that when I first saw it, especially when she was doing the glasses thing, and it was very much in that vein. I wonder if that's what the inspiration was. I don't know. I can't wait for Edna Mode to come back. I cannot wait for The Incredibles.
K Sizzle asks, will you all do a Westworld show? Yes, we did season 1, which we have up on. If you go back and look at our videos, we have season 1 up there. We love that show. We can't wait for it to come back. Unfortunately, we have to wait another year.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's one show I will absolutely wait for. I would say my favorite shows running were, Ash vs. Evil Dead and Game of Thrones. But now it's Westworld, Ash vs. Evil Dead, and Westworld, and Happy, probably. Westworld, I've rewatched, and Mr. Robot. But as far as like rewatchability, I've rewatched all the way through 4 times. All the way through. Like I thought, I'm going to throw on an episode, and then I ended up binging it over a couple days. It is it's such a damn good show. If you've not seen that show, that groundbreaking. For one, I'm a huge fan of the original movie, even though the back half is just a dumb chase. That's a perfect example of that's what you want to remake and reboot. You take kind of a bad movie with a good concept, and like take Dark Star. Anybody remember Dark Star?
Oh yeah, I remember Dark Star.
A really horrible sci-fi movie. That would be a great one to modernize.
Movie.
Yeah, dude, Dark Star, man. Like, they did that with Westworld, and Westworld could go forever. And it turned out it's one of those rare cases where they delayed it because it turned out better than they thought. Which I even said that. I thought that was just total bullshit. They were trying to like make excuses for all the reshoots, but they actually did reshoot it because they had a completely different ending. Because I think it was initially going to be a one and done, or they were going to go a different direction, and they saw how good it turned out, and they're all, wait a minute, we need to replan this whole thing. So they shut everything down and got themselves to an ending. So they did everything J.J. Abrams and Lindelof didn't with Lost.
Yep.
So they know where they're going. So that show, believe me, everybody will like Collider will be talking about, like everybody will be talking about that show in a couple of years after it's had like 2 or 3 seasons. It'll be everybody's favorite show.
That's the problem with Stranger Things. I'll admit, you just can't throw on an episode.
No, you can't.
Yeah,
I can't. It's like eating you can't have just one chip. You got to just eat the whole damn bag. But I have impulse control problems.
Turbo Tyrant says, you know who Gary looks like? This has been bugging me. Gary, you look like Mr. Robot.
I am Mr. Robot. Funny story. Me and Christian Slater were born 3 hours apart on the same day. We had the same birthday. He was just born in New York, and I was born in San Diego. But weird. And you know what? We have similar paths. Well, I did not turn into a big movie star and co-produce one of the greatest television shows on TV. Not been successful as him. But we did the same experimenting in our teenage years. Had similar results. We'll just say that. Back to the Future reboot with Christopher Walken as Doc and Tom Holland as Marty. That'd be pretty good, actually. I'd watch that. Oh my God, the fans of that would just see. I'm not a heretic with the freaking Back to the Future, so you can remake it. But people would freak the F out. Oh my God. That I would watch that. Christopher Walken as Doc Brown.
I don't know. Christopher Walken might be a little too old. I could see it, but
Turbo Tyrant. I have to kind of I know Ghost World's gonna. I was not a fan of the Blade Runner 2049. I thought it just was too long. I thought there were some parts of it beautiful, but and I'm a huge fan of the original. Saw the original in the theater, the original theater cut in 1982. Me and my friend Doug went and saw that movie. I had a lot of problems with it. I do need to watch it again though. But yeah, I know I like everybody loved it, and I felt like such an a-hole for not liking it. I was like, oh man.
Yeah,
but I didn't. Yeah. But maybe I missed something. I gotta watch it again. I watch it at home. But I usually I'm not gonna change my opinion, probably, but I thought it could have just been a little shorter, but it was really pretty. Not a big problem with the story. It just took so long to get there to me. But forgive me for not liking it. I know everybody likes it.
Brian says he had a friend who loved Dark Star so much he legally changed his name to Dark Star.
Oh, hell yeah. You're one of those guys who has friends named Dark Star. See, I get you. Yeah.
K-Sizzle says, oops, sorry.
Oh, go
on. K-Sizzle says, with Westworld, other than Samurai World, what other worlds could they make to expand it to 5 seasons or at least 100 episodes? Well, there's Medieval World. There is Roman World, which we know because this is a direct sequel to the movies that happened in the 70s.
Yep.
So we know that there's Medieval World, there's Roman World, and there is one other world. Is there not? I'm blanking on it right now.
That's all I can think of right now.
Yeah.
I think there's infinite places they can go. They can go future. They can do like a fantasy land. they can go crazy with this. It almost, I'm wondering where they're going because it feels like in the first season they kind of got to the end so quickly that the for lack, I know they're called something else, but the robots basically escaped or haven't escaped. So they're going to have to contain them somehow and expand in the other worlds and kind of like slow the burn a little bit on the story. We don't know where we are in that world. That's one of the coolest things about the show. They had a little map in the background for like a second, but it almost looked like the map of a planet. Now, I'm not saying it's a planet, but we don't know where the corporation is. We don't know what year it is. We don't know how far in the future it is. We don't know if this isn't just a computer simulation. We don't know. And that's part of the mystery of the show, which I think they're going to like really give us that in little pieces. Like seeing the outside world is not something I expect to see in season 2. Is Dr. Ford dead? Is he really dead? Or was he making a copy of himself? In that his own little private room, or was he just making another version of the kid, or was he making a copy of what's her name, who he had Bernard kill? Like forgetting her name, the Swedish boss who was there.
Oh yeah, I can't remember her name either.
Or Scandinavian. I don't know if she was Swedish, but
I was just going to say that some of the worlds that have been thrown out here is Pirate World, Steampunk World, and IKEA World.
IKEA World. Well, I don't know. I like the fries and the little meatballs. Those are really good. But
the workmanship is kind of shoddy. And I always end up with a bag of parts at the end.
You do. You get the Allen wrench. No, that's what they built the Bay Bridge with. Was an Allen wrench. Yeah, a Joe Dirt reboot.
And I believe there is a Dune remake. I mean, is it a movie or is it a TV series?
I sound like an Ancient Aliens guy.
That's funny you should mention that.
Funny you should mention that.
Gary's entire room is wrapped in aluminum foil right now. You just can't see it from the inside.
It is. I am buds with Giorgio Tsoukalos.
Yep.
I helped him. I worked on his pitch video for Ancient Aliens. I lit that.
Yeah,
I did.
He's the guy who's in those memes that says, not going to say it's aliens, but it's aliens.
But it's aliens. Yeah, I knew Giorgio when he was living at my friend's house on a mattress with no bed frame and had a bunch of candles around his bed. He's pretty woo woo. I like some of that woo woo stuff. I do. I went to a conference this year. I saw Giorgio. Yes, Giorgio Tsoukalos. Yes.
And actually, Ghost World said, "I'm not saying it's a planet, but it's a planet.
But it's a planet."
Chuck E. Cheese World.
Chuck E. Cheese World. Do they serve beer at that one though? Because they started to serve beer at Chuck E. Cheese World.
Oh, dude, they started delivering now. Chuck E. Cheese has started delivering pizza now, which is
what's the point? Do they deliver the weird animatronic characters? They should straight up just call it Five Nights at Freddy now and just go with it. They just freaking roll with it.
Oh, Christopher Walken in a live action Rick and Morty would be genius.
Oh, that would be good.
Oh, that I'd pay money for.
Yeah, Tom Holland and Christopher Walken can both play that. That's just keep that cast together. That'd be awesome. I was gonna look for that picture of me and Giorgio.
If they revisited and revamped Andromeda or maybe Earth Final Conflict. I don't know, Jody. That
those would be good. The Earth Final Conflict. I didn't see Andromeda.
I saw Andromeda. It was interesting, but it just seemed to keep going in the same circle over and over and over again. So that was the only thing for me on that. Earth Final Conflict, they kept seeming to have the same conflict over and over again. So, it need to be updated. It really does need to be updated. Oh, Mass Effect TV show would be interesting. That's Gogol Po.
That would be interesting. Oh, I can't get that.
And Jody asked Gary, is he really like that in real life? All about the aliens.
Here. Yes, he is. See, there we are. There was my boy. It was awesome seeing. He was selling like these statues and that little, I don't know, that little spaceship that he said that he from Puma Punka or whatever. That was obviously a plane from the Mayan times or whatever. Yes, he absolutely 100% believes it. He doesn't believe like we're in contact with aliens now and all the government conspiracy stuff, but he absolutely, he is boys with Eric Von Daniken, who I got to meet and is a cool guy. But yeah. So I'm really into that stuff. I love it. I don't 100% believe it. I like it as I like the thought of it. I've never seen a UFO. I don't go down the rabbit hole with that stuff, but I know some of those people. So yeah, I've gone to their concerts. I had some fun, but there are some freaking weirdos for sure.
Been making some really good comments.
Well, and some shysters too. There's major shysters in that thing. What was that? Go for it.
Sloppy B has been making some really good comments here. Rick and Morty on ice.
Dude, they would do that. They would totally do that.
I could see them doing it. Yeah. And Gogol Po asks, are you guys excited for Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy? I am so excited that I'm going to wait till it comes out on cable.
I predict creative differences and scheduling conflicts.
Yes.
Very soon. I mean, like, honestly, Kathleen Kennedy doesn't like directors very much. So she's been going through them quite a bit. So not excited, but who knows? Maybe if he's given his own stuff, he can. Yeah, I don't think so though. I would love to see other people take a crack at it. Like try somebody different.
I forgot to mention Ridley Scott actually chimed in on this whole directors thing because someone asked him, "How about you directing a Star Wars movie?" And he's like, "No." He's too, what do you say? He's got his own stuff going on, but he doesn't agree with them using these small directors who've directed movies for like, $10 million, $15 million, and suddenly throwing $150 million at them and expecting them to do this big movie, which I agree with to some extent.
The Russo brothers proved that wrong though.
Yeah. The Russo brothers are a different animal though. I mean, those guys.
And Patty Jenkins.
Yeah, Patty Jenkins, she had to work her stuff out though. She did a good job. But yeah, it's few and far in between of people that can actually do that.
Oh yeah, they get way over their head, and you get you know, back Spielberg had to work his way up, but like honestly, he did a little bit of TV.
Mm-hmm.
Then he did Duel, then he did Jaws, then he did freaking Close Encounters with but Douglas Trumbull was there helping him along the way.
Well, that was also
the greatest single special effects guy ever. Douglas Trumbull, Blade Runner. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He was genius, and I wonder if he's still around. I know ILM kind of squeezed him out, but he was the shit back in the day. So I don't know. Alex Jones can play Doc in Back to the Future. The frogs are gay. Alex freaking Jones. That Sloppy B's been funny, man.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Ridley Scott.
You guys have all been great, by the way. You're keeping this thing going. Like, this was actually our lightest news. Usually we have about 12 or 15 topics of news, but I guess it's been kind of quiet.
It's been a quiet week. Yeah, it's been a
quiet week. It's still like, I was, God, there's still videos. It's even in our recommended thing when I'm looking at it here. It's like Star Wars, blah, 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 Star Wars, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I'm over the Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
Ghost World, you're actually excited about the Han Solo movie. See, the problem I have with it is he's dead. He got killed by his son. That's all I'm going to think about now. And there is Red Letter Media has a video. They did pretty good with Force Awakens. It's called Bad Predictions, where they just predict things from the movie, which we should totally do, Dennis, because we're pretty good at that. And they laid out, like, just go watch the video at Red Letter Media, and they do bad predictions for the Han Solo movie. I would have loved to see Lord and Miller's version. I think that would have actually been good. I would have probably been very entertained by that. I'm sorry it was Ron Howard. Ron Howard's done some good stuff. Don't get me wrong. Love Night Shift. Fucking love that movie. But I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna go see it, and who knows? It could turn out to be good. That, like, everybody's saying it's gonna be crap, and that happens once in a while.
I don't know. I think it might be the best comedy of the year.
On purpose. Well, yeah. I mean, like, I'm not excited about it, but if it's good, I will tell you. I will definitely tell you. I'm not one of those people who's like, I'm gonna hate something and I'm gonna hate it no matter what. Even if it's good, I'm gonna hate it because I have to hate it for my ego or whatever. Nah.
Ghost World says, reread my comment. I'm more excited for Rian Johnson's trilogy than I am for Solo. Honestly, don't need to know or see Solo's backstory. Plus, the actor is just meh.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't catch them all. Yeah. Ghost World, but yeah, I'd be more excited to see something different from Star Wars, like just away from the Empire and the Rebellion. Just go somewhere else, and it's a big galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And let's get, like, this is probably where Disney is wanting. It's like ripping the scab off. Like let's get this original trilogy stuff over with, so we can start doing our own thing and diving in deep. I just don't want it to be a thing where they come out with the movies, because I've already heard this with Last Jedi, is like, you have to read a book, you have to read a comic book, and da 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 da. It's like, no. You have to, whatever you make in a movie, it has to be in the goddamn movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have to watch a prequel of a prequel.
No, yeah, no online. Like, if it's cool to have like little short videos that add to it, but they aren't important. If you don't watch them, you're still going to totally get 100% what's in the movie. Okay. I love it when they do extra stuff, but not if it's necessary, because that pisses me off. But that's what Marvel was getting guilty of for a while. It's like, oh, we started this thing, but now we're teasing this thing, and they righted the ship on that. But that's my only worry. I don't know if Rian's going to get a chance, though. I really don't. I think this whole division thing is real. They are worried. The spin is out there. It's crazy. I don't think it's the death of Star Wars, or no way in hell. It would take so much to kill this thing. Now, if you did another Last Jedi, we can come back and talk, but the fan base is still huge. When they do D23 next year, it'll be freaking sold out. It'll be packed.
Sorry, they're also saying Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. That'd be great.
That would be great.
You know, honestly, if Mel Brooks should be doing that right about now, because this would be the best time to actually do that and bring back. Sure, you have a lot of people that are dead now. That, you know, Joan Rivers did the voice of the robot, John Candy as Barf. But still, you could totally do. If you could actually bring Rick Moranis out of retirement to play Dark Helmet, and just make it about, you know, the kids. Just do something really funny about that. I think that would actually work.
Remember History of the World? Jews in space. I freaking love History of the World.
Yeah.
You cannot. Mel Brooks could not make movies anymore. It's just, you can't.
Well, he even says, yeah, it's too much of a PC world. He can't do it.
No. I love Spaceballs though. Combing the Desert.
Well, Sloppy B actually said, "Found anything yet?" We ain't found shit.
We ain't found shit.
That's great.
Oh my God. Yeah. So we've been going for quite a while now.
Yeah, we have.
I'm actually almost running out of coffee. I got a Starbucks and a Pete's.
I finished my drink that I had. I'm not going to say what I was drinking.
What were you drinking, Dennis?
Alcohol.
What kind of alcohol, Dennis?
I was drinking apple moonshine is what I was drinking.
Really? That's great.
Yeah.
I had a sobriety date come and go. So yeah,
nice.
Recently. So yay.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. You have a drink for me, buddy. It's all right.
I'm already done with it. Yeah. Daphne Zuniga, who played Princess Daphne, she retired, I think. I haven't seen her.
That's a good question.
I am your father's brother's cousin's former roommate.
Which makes us. Ooh, Gremlins reboot.
They are working on that.
Are they? I've been thinking about that. Yeah, because I have the soundtrack on vinyl that popped in my head the other day. I was going through my vinyl collection, found yes, I bought the soundtrack on vinyl. Yeah, Jerry Goldsmith, dude.
Yeah, Joe Dante, man, what happened to him? He disappeared.
Yeah, you remember all those Steven Spielberg proteges? There was Dante, Zemeckis, that guy just did Captain America. The first Captain America movie.
Winter Soldier, the first Avenger.
Yeah. I'm blanking.
Yeah, Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson. Yeah, these were all guys who worked with Spielberg and Lucasfilm, and they all became big directors. But yeah, Dante disappeared, and he was good.
Mm-hmm.
I love Gremlins too. I freaking love that movie. I know people don't, but I goddamn love that movie.
You remember when you watch it in the theater, it had the film rip?
Yep.
And that absolutely freaked me the hell out. I remember because wasn't expecting it. So yeah, it was really cool.
Evil always win because good is dumb.
Brian's drinking some tequila.
I saw some red wine up there.
Ghostworld's drinking some red wine.
Ghostworld is refined. And Brian, that was the last hard liquor I drank. And that's the only thing there's only one thing I don't ever tell my wife what to do. Her nickname is Bossy Boots. She always tells me the only thing she is forbidden to do is drink tequila. For some reason, it's like, she's part Native American, so I think it's got some adverse effect that she has said herself. Yeah, tequila, she is not allowed.
It's a mean drink. Yeah.
I had to keep her from beating up a girl at Coachella because she had bad highlights, and it was nasty. It was just nasty.
Go Poe
hard too.
Donner went on to produce a lot of movies, so that's pretty much what he did. He has his own production company.
Well, man, you know, Lethal. Yeah, he didn't really direct a ton of stuff, so he must have like it. Directing's hard. I think some people just are good at it and they do it, but they burn out. You know, that's you know, I still marvel at Spielberg, like how many movies he can still do and still pump them out, and he's not young anymore. But okay, the Frank Sinatra Gremlin and the Hulk Hogan cameo. Hell yeah. Greatness that movie was. I want to watch it again. It's probably I'm probably remembering it much better than it was.
Yeah, it was a bad movie.
My God. Okay, so YouTube's on my notifications, and guys, don't kill me for this. Okay, please. I've been getting shit all week because I was watching a Monday Matt video, and he was talking about Ron Howard directing Han Solo and how it was a right move, and he invoked Willow as Ron Howard's best movie. And I just in a very flippant comment, I'm like, out of all of Ron Howard's movies, you picked Willow, and I know Willow. It must have a special place in, I guess, people who are a little younger than me. I'm 48, so if you were like a kid watching Willow, it must have been a different experience than when I was a teenager, and I thought I was sold a bill of goods because I was expecting Val Kilmer and a kick-ass fantasy by George Lucas and the director of Cocoon, and I got a story about a bunch of puppets, and you know, it just wasn't what I expected. Okay, so I didn't really like the movie very much at all. So I pointed out that, like, you know, yeah, and Ron Howard, I don't know if he's retconned his statement, but in the 90s, I remember reading in the Starlog saying he would never work with George Lucas again. Like, he's my friend, but I will never work with him again. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. So it's always stuck in my head. So, but all week I've been getting, I mean, like, dude, last night one popped up like, you're an idiot. You know, it's like, maybe I'm wrong on that one. It's probably like,
it's
Goonies.
A bad movie.
It's like Goonies. There's a crowd that's like 10 years younger than us, Dennis, that fucking loves Goonies.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
And Goonies was just a movie, you know, it's all right, you know, but, and it was a kid's movie. And I saw it as a teenager and it did nothing for me, but there is, yeah. So I don't know how you guys, yeah. That was a perfect movie. Yeah. I challenge anybody to rewatch Willow and, think it's, I mean, it had some good qualities, but it definitely, you saw that was bad Lucas. You know, I mean, like, I enjoy Howard the Duck. Dennis and I were just talking about this. We enjoy Howard the Duck more than Willow. Okay, I can watch Howard the Duck.
I want to do a reboot, a review of Howard the Duck for one of our podcasts. That's kind of what came out from that. And by the way, someone actually just mentioned it. Joe's World says, yeah, but look at the quality. Indiana Jones 4. That wasn't Spielberg's fault. That was Lucas's fault with the script, man. Lucas
Spielberg was in the room, man.
He was in the room, but you know what? He let Lucas do whatever he wanted because it was his baby, and I still put a good majority of that blame on Lucas.
I mean, you know, who pointed out? I was watching a video. I would give the person credit if I could remember that Lucas's falling out was when his wife Marcia. I mean, they divorced during Empire Strikes Back. But she stayed on, and she's the one. I don't know if this is entirely true. Okay. But the story, according to this video, and I've heard this before, is like she's the one who helped re-edit the first Star Wars with George. And then she did some editing in Empire Strikes Back. And she's won an Academy Award. Okay. And Return of the Jedi and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And it's when she left that his work kind of went to crap. Like, you know, and
I can see that.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's true, but you don't ever hear about Marcia Lucas anymore at all. And like, she should be right up there in the Mount Rushmore of Star Wars, you know, with Kasdan and Gary Kurtz, and also not having Gary Kurtz around. Like, you know, he kept George in line a little bit. He's the guy who had the Quaker Abe Lincoln beard forever. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, Star Wars like taught me what like everything about movie making. Like I knew who at the time, like who the gaffers were. I read the credits. I read them all. Oh my God. I read my Bantha tracks over and over and over and over and over again. But yeah, poor Marcia. She's like relegated to nothing.
I'm sorry. There's a sequel to Dark Crystal coming. Your thoughts, Brian asks. I'm looking forward to it.
That is funny that you bring that up. So my wife has a lot of clients and a lot of friends, and one of them is working on that film, and we have an interview set up for January. So that we're going to be doing a couple. It's not going to be a huge thing, but we are going to be doing some interviews. I don't know if I can get her live. I'd love to get her live so you guys can ask her questions, but she is currently working on the film, and we are going to get her on. I am very excited. I love that movie, and it's one of the greatest soundtracks. Trevor Jones' soundtrack is so good. It was a Muppet movie, but that was Jim Henson like unleashed, and his creative genius that he is. And it's a dated movie. I can still watch it again. I freaking love it. I can't wait.
And he tortured the crap out of some puppeteers to get what he wanted out of that too. He literally tortured some puppeteers, the guys that are on stilts and stuff like that. He tortured the crap out of them.
Yeah, Jody, you're right. He called in the cavalry for Star Wars. Like there was a lot of people. Like John Milius had something to do with it too. Yeah. Yep.
And Gogo Po, you're not the only one. I loved Kroll as well. Kroll is not the greatest movie in the world, but it's a fun movie.
Labyrinth, greater than Dark Crystal. I like them both.
Yeah, I like them both.
I'm not going to compare. I mean, dude, David Bowie. Yeah. I mean, anything David Bowie's in is better.
Yeah. The only thing I find creepy,
makes everything 20% better.
The only thing I find creepy is
worse without him. What?
It's the tight pants that David Bowie had on around a teenage, and I'm just blanking on her name all of a sudden.
Jennifer Connelly?
Jennifer Connelly, yes.
Widely known as a very freaky girl in Hollywood, we'll just say. I love Jennifer Connelly. And David Bowie, who knows? At the time, who knows? Yeah, you know what? David Bowie probably did some weird things. He was David Bowie. But yeah, fucking love the Bowie. The Labyrinth is great. Yeah, can't say is it better than Dark Crystal?
Same vein. I'd say same vein.
I've never compared them. Yeah, I don't know. I like them both.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? Jennifer Connelly being in it does make it better. You're right.
And
there's no Jennifer Connelly in Dark Crystal. That's for sure.
The year that you were sharing Jamie's booth, remember when you were selling the toys and I was behind the counter there?
Yep.
For a little while. We disappeared a couple hours on me.
A couple hours.
Yeah. Jennifer Connelly was shilling for that really bad The Day There Stood Still remake with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
So she was actually up in Hall H, and somebody was walking by. This guy, he was on his cell phone. He had 3 kids in tow, and he had a professional badge on. I'm looking at him like, he looks really familiar. And I'm thinking, what the? And as soon as he walked by, I was Paul Bettany. That's who it is. That's her husband, by the way.
Were they married back then? I guess they've been married for a while. Yeah.
They have 5 kids.
The vision. Oh my God. If I was married to Jennifer Connelly, I'd have a busload of kids. Yeah. Sorry. There is no need to apologize on this show, Ghost World.
Wait, Jennifer Connelly was known for what? Come on, man.
Did she have a breast reduction? She might have.
Jennifer Connelly has been in mainly Labyrinth is the one that everyone kind of knows her for the most part. But
Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, Requiem for a Dream. A lot of people
will. Ang Lee's Hulk.
Yes. She was actually the better Betty in that one. Versus
Absolutely.
Rocketeer. Remember she played Jenny?
Yes.
That was an awesome movie.
Love
A Beautiful Mind. She was in A Beautiful Mind. She was in Noah, unfortunately. Yeah, The Day There Stood Still. That was just a horrible, horrible movie.
I never saw it.
Yeah. Dark City.
Dark City. Yes. Thank you. I freaking love that movie. Okay, that's definitely going in our DVD vault. So we are going to be doing some like retro reviews. We're calling it DVD vault. I've had one in the can for like a year for Big Trouble in Little China that I'm going to release in a couple days. Then our next one's going to be Bubba Hotep. We're going to be reviewing Bubba Hotep, and then I think we should do Dark City or Howard the Duck, or maybe both. We could do them back to back.
Either one, man. Out there, both. I'm
we should
good.
probably do those live. Let people chime in. That'd be fun. Why not?
Yeah, we can do that.
I don't want to hear us talk about it all the time. I want to hear what you guys think. Yeah, Dark City was cool, and yeah,
that was right after
Richard O'Brien too. So
Alex Proyas got released. I mean,
Ghost World.
I mean, for killing Brandon Lee.
He didn't do it. It was stunt coordinator. And he's a great director, I think. Ghost World, good night. Thanks for joining us, man.
Good night, Ghost World. Thank you.
And yeah, we'll be back Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern, for another live one.
Yeah, just take a look on our website, and we will have that. And Annika says you guys should do live movie commentaries.
I just got to figure out how the heck we can do it. I would be totally down with that. I don't know if we can do it here on YouTube. There's other places we can do it. But yes, I'm totally open to that. That'd be so much fun. Yeah. Yeah. See you later, Ghost World. So, yeah, we'll be doing DVD vaults. I wanted to do some editing on Big Trouble in Little China because there's just so many great quotes I wanted to stick in there. But I think beyond that, I think, our channel is just kind of a live channel. I think we should just do live stuff. And Sloppy B. That's just the name. Sorry. Yeah, Rocketeer is getting a reboot. It's supposed to be what?
It's actually not really a reboot. It's actually kind of a sequel where the original Rocketeer has disappeared, and a woman that has been working in the I guess behind the scenes with them dons the suit now, and it's now during World War II at this point.
Yes.
Bruce Leroy was awesome, man. The Last Dragon. Last Dragon is the shit. Yes. Gary's speechless here.
Oh, the reputation she used to have from a friend who used to work in the industry was she was a little just fun. Yeah. She was a party girl. But I mean, that's Hollywood. I think everybody is. I think she's settled down now. She's got her kids and stuff, and but I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I mean that as like she just was cool. But not every actress would do, even though there was body doubles, would do Requiem for a Dream, Aronofsky stuff. He can get actors and actresses to do some really dark stuff. I give him full credit for that. Yeah, for commentaries, you can't show the film on YouTube, but you can tell the audience when to start the time. Yeah. Totally. I would, if you guys are down, who's the master? Yeah, I can't say the other one. Hey, I got a question. In Requiem for a Dream, who came out the best at the end? Was it the crazy mom? Was it the guy who went to jail? Was it the what's the name who lost his arm? Or was it Jennifer Connelly's character? I was really trying to think this, and I think it was the guy who went to jail. I think the guy who went to jail got off the easiest.
Yeah, maybe. Dude, that movie's just all messed. I can't watch that movie.
No, dude. I was like, why? Did I watch that movie other than to question my existence? No, it's just a film. Yeah, if you guys are down, I'll try it. I think that would be so much fun. So we have to decide on what movie we do a commentary on. We'd have to have a consensus. So I can't talk anymore. I've been talking too long. Send us emails or throw it in the comments. Yeah, throw it in the comments. Just like what you would want us to do a commentary on, and we could do a live commentary. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's Gogo Po. It is the same guy who made Mother. Who
Yes,
did,
which I did not see.
Yeah,
but I almost want to now out of just curiosity when it comes out.
Sloppy B, I think it traumatized everyone.
It did.
Especially when it's intercut with him shooting up, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
So it's a disturbing scene all the way around, just because of what's happening.
And the whole time I was watching, I was like, Aronofsky, what happened to you? Like, this is a cry for help, man. Like, what is going on?
It was a dark movie.
It was. You know, remember he was going to do Batman?
I remember.
You ever seen the Batman script that's floating around from him? It was based on Year One. I think it was written by Frank Miller.
It was written by Miller.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it was.
It was as bad as that Superman Lives script that Kevin Smith wrote in a night on a plane.
Wasn't there like a storm going on when he was writing that thing too?
Yeah. No, I've heard the story like 8 times. So, and it was a giant spider, blah blah blah.
Yeah, if you go to any of Kevin Smith's live appearances, you'll hear that show over and over and over again. It's the same
giant spider story.
Yeah.
I'm glad he stopped telling it.
It would have been a bad movie, Jody.
It would have been a very bad movie. Yeah. Jody was asking, good Lord, what movie would that have been? Superman Lives. Terrible.
Yeah, there's a documentary out there about the making of Superman Lives, and it's probably one of the most horrific things you'll ever see. Mystery
Science Nerdrotic 3. I mean, that's pretty much when we go to a movie, we do it anyway. My wife is the worst.
Yeah, my favorite moment of any movie was Attack of the Clones, the second movie. I was in the theater. I'm probably like about 4 or 5 rows up, back from the screen, because it was crowded. Of course, it was opening night, and just couldn't believe how bad the movie was going. And at one point, Anakin asks Padme, he goes, "I feel pain. Don't you feel pain too?" And I raised my hand. I said, "I do." That's how loud I said it. Was just, "I do." And about 3 rows in front and behind me, just started bursting out laughing. And the guy dressed as Chewbacca in front of me turned and gave me this dirty ass look. And
through his Chewbacca mask.
He didn't have it on, but he had a beard.
My favorite moment in a movie, when Melissa and I were watching Insomnia, and there was a guy snoring in the middle of it, and the whole theater just erupted. It was so funny. Not that it was a terrible movie; it was just funny and kind of sleeping.
Yeah. It's ironic.
Yeah, I got to replay that description I have of when in Amazing Spider-Man 2, when Gwen Stacy dies. And that was like pretty much my last. I used to be a nerd rager, big time nerd rager. Okay. But I've calmed down to my old age. It's been like 4 years since I've nerd raged. That was my last instance of just pure nerd rage. And yeah, I pissed off the entire movie theater. It was not one of my finer moments, to be honest with you, but I kind of freaked out, started cussing at the screen and cursing people who made that movie. And I was like with my kids. They were younger. Yeah, it was bad. But that's in our 14th podcast, I want to say.
Jody, no, I did not react to the sand line. I think by that point I'd pretty much checked out. I was checking around that movie pretty hard at that point.
Yeah, the time he delivered that, I just think, I was so far into like, this movie is just such crap. I didn't even think about it till it started coming up later. The funniest thing to me that got like laughter from the audience. Tell me if this happened with you, Dennis, when Padme falls out of the trooper ship. And then she just pops up and dusts herself off and runs off, and like that, like people were cracking up. That's the one I remember.
She was laying there like she was hurt. She's like rolling around like and the stormtrooper comes by, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yep, I'm fine." She gets up and dusts herself off and runs.
Tell they're like, act hurt. No, get up and run. She's like, okay. Oh my God. And then running in sand. I don't know. That go back and watch that scene. That the whole theater erupted at that point. So
Gogapole, they are that bad. That's the reason why my handle on Twitter is DeForce. It's that old. It's actually from the prequels, and it was in reaction to how bad that was. It was the force that came to kick George Lucas in the. I remember I was bartending. This is back when I was doing catering and I was doing bartending, and I remember I actually texted you, Gary. I think I remember. I said, I'm standing in front of George Lucas. Do I kick him in the ass or spit in his drink?
I told you to kick him in the ass.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I saw him at the. I told the story on the podcast before. I was with John. He took me to Lucas Ranch, and they were filming Revenge of the Sith. And we walked in the front door, and John's going. For one, it had to have been a mistake. But when I rolled up there, I was on a no entry list.
Oh,
like my name came up as a no entry, so they had to work that out. It was there by mistake. So they let me in, unless they did a really serious background check, which, like. Never mind. But so they let me in, and George and Rick McCallum are standing right, like the door's open, and he gives me that George Lucas look, like I was an insect on a shoe or something like that. And again, this is during Revenge of the Sith. They're filming, and he just kind of, I smiled at him, and he, and walked away, and I was like, holy shit. I didn't care that he, I wasn't expecting him to give me a hug or anything like that. But then I went around, and I was told not to touch anything, and I kept touching stuff. Because he bought out the whole the United Artists book library. He bought it all, right? So it's in this giant, and then he recreated it on Lucas Ranch. So it's got this big dome skylight, and it looks like a Harry Potter library with just books for rows up and up. And I kept pulling the books out. I'm gonna look at that. Ooh. And it was random, but it was really cool to go there. He's got a little winery. He's got like a mini winery, and you went to the studio where they recorded all the soundtracks, which was amazing. And there's like this old ratty leather couch that John Williams would kick back on and, write music and stuff. It was really cool experience. And there's a gift shop. I bought an Emperor's cane there, then promptly broke it. Freaking month later, pissed me off. But
I remember selling that at Comic-Con.
Yeah, remember I had a glued piece. Mm-hmm. I hope you told them that it was glued.
I did tell them it was broken, and that's why we got the price. I think we only sold it for like $100.
See all these action figures. I don't own statues because I break every statue I ever got, so I'm terrible with statues. I wouldn't say he snubbed me. I think it was more like he was busy, and he looked up though. I was grateful for that. I was like, whoa. I mean, it's weird when you own a comic book store. I owned a comic book store. And I got to do some stuff that would just the little Gary head would have exploded. Like I met Chewbacca, I saw George Lucas, I met Mark Hamill. This stuff I never saw myself doing, and it was really fun. It was really fun.
By little Gary, he means the little Gary in his pants.
Well, it's my wife's nickname. No, yeah.
My Lucasfilm, my Skywalker Ranch moment, I guess you could say, was I was doing it was catering. And we were doing the teachers. George actually does the Teachers Award, where he recognizes high school teachers and elementary school teachers and gives them awards and for excellence, and does a dinner for them once a year. It's really kind of cool. And so we were doing the bar for that, and I was coming in, and I remember I'm walking through this big room. And I'm like, this room looks really familiar. What is it? I'm, bringing the hand truck in, offload it, come back out. Where have I seen this room before? I'm wheeling stuff in back and forth. And by the third time I'm coming through, I'm like, this is the sound stage. This is where John Williams and the orchestra actually recorded the music. We're doing this on the sound stage. This is where we're doing this. And I'm like, holy crap. Really kind of cool.
It is so cool. And then when you get there, you're like, this stuff looks so small. Like you just imagine everything's like in this giant room, and there's people running around and computers everywhere. And that's the way it kind of is at Lucasfilm at the campus down at the Presidio now. But up there, it was it was weird how kind of small it was. And it was just a ranch. It was a ranch house. It was a regular ranch house.
Yeah.
In the middle of kind of nowhere up in Marin. off of Lucas Valley Road, which was a complete coincidence, and it's weird. And the whole battlefield from Phantom Menace, that whole rolling grassy hills, that's what Marin looks like, you know, in spring. He basically had the battle at Marin. Naboo, was that the name of the planet? It was Marin.
Yeah, Naboo.
It was Planet Marin. And
they have these weird deers out there that are, you know, roaming around that may or may not be animatronic with cameras in their eyes. Because there's a couple of them that didn't look like they were real deer when we were driving up.
Wouldn't put it past them.
I wouldn't either. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think we're at the point that Dennis did a lot of, you were up there a couple times, right? Catering a lot.
That was the only time I was up there. That was actually on one of my birthdays.
You did a bunch of was it Silicon Valley? You did a bunch of stuff catering. I remember you telling me stories.
Yeah, I did the Men in Black rap party for the first Men in Black, the Twister rap party. I did the Bob Hope Desert Classic, where I almost ran over one of the 49ers' feet. And then also the next day, one of my coworkers, he almost ran over another 49er. That was the year they were actually winning some stuff. So people were kind of pissed at us that we almost ran over these guys with the golf carts. And that was also Samuel Jackson came up to our booth that wasn't open. We were setting up the day before. And I didn't know it was him. And I was in the back. And our manager who was working in the front didn't know who he was either. And he said, "I'll have a chicken sandwich." He said, "No, you won't." Okay.
Did he ask what's in your wallet?
I was in the back. I'm just hearing this conversation from, firsthand or secondhand in the back. And then "I'll have a hot dog." "No, you won't." What do you have then?" She goes, "I've got nothing. We're closed. We're not open till tomorrow." Okay. And he just wanders off. But I came out because I was like, "What the hell are you being so mean to some?" And they go, "Do you know who that is?" I was like, "I don't know who that is." Yeah.
You should have been nice anyway. What a dick.
Yeah, I know. I did not meet Will Smith.
I have not met Kenny Baker. I saw Will Smith. When he was filming, what was the serious one with his kid?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the one.
They were at the Mission Inn down the street from my house. I was driving home from the comic store, and I'm at a stoplight. I look up, and there's Will freaking Smith. I'm like, well, nah. And I forgot in Pursuit of Happiness, right?
Pursuit of Happiness, yes.
Pursuit of Happiness, yeah. And they were filming it in a ratty hotel that's about 2 blocks away from my house. Yeah, that's when I saw Will Smith. I have not met Kenny Baker, though, but a lot of peripheral Star Wars people I have met. Through just going to when we were doing Comic-Cons, anything on the West Coast, pretty much every other couple months. So we were part of the crew, and it's the same people at Comic-Con. So you get to know everybody there. It's actually kind of fun. It's actually really fun. Yeah, it was a good time.
I have literally bumped into Ron Perlman by accident. He was outside grabbing a smoke at Comic-Con and waiting for his limo. And I was talking to somebody as I was walking backwards, never a good thing to do. Bumped into him, and I turned around and I went, "Oh, sorry." And then I saw who it was. I'm like, "I'm really sorry."
I didn't know he smoked.
Cigars. Yeah.
So okay. And we've had some celebs like come in and buy stuff from us at con. I had too many to count, actually. And then Peter Jackson came in my store one time. And I couldn't recognize him because he lost a bunch of weight. Yeah.
You scared off Seth Green at Comic-Con that same year.
Well, he was also really, really
blazed out of his mind.
Yeah, he was blazed. No, but he every year Seth Green came over to buy Doctor Who toys because I had the most Doctor Who toys. So, yeah, Anthony Daniels. Did you hear the story about Anthony Daniels and Kenny Baker? Like Anthony Daniels treated him like shite, apparently. So, hey, if any of you guys, I really recommend if any of you guys are toy collectors. I'm a toy collector. The toy documentary on Netflix. I watched the G.I. Joe one and the Star Trek one. They are amazing. The Star Trek one, Star Wars. Did I say Star Trek? Star Wars.
Yeah.
That is so good. I mean, it's sappy, but it's good. It's really, really good. So go check it out. The Toys
Brian,
or something like that.
I have heard the Samuel Jackson Go the F to Sleep. It's amazing. It's an amazing, amazing read. And Perlman, believe it or not, isn't as tall in real life as I thought he would be. He's tall, but he's not that tall.
Huh. Yes, Seth Green was, at least at the time, was a Whovian, but this was like 2011, 2012, when Who was super hot.
Yeah,
like scorching hot, right before the 50th anniversary, and Comic-Con was pretty much Doctor Who central, which is too bad. That's part of the apathy. It was too bad. It owned Comic-Con for a good couple of years. It fought off Twilight a little bit. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna have to. Oh damn, it's 11:30 our time, and I gotta work tomorrow. So it is time for us to go. But again, 1,000 subscribers, humbling and awesome, and I look forward to more. And I love you guys, and I love doing this. This is like seriously one of the best hobbies ever.
Yes, it's a lot of fun.
And it's so much fun, and we could do this like every day. We could, and pretty soon I'll be getting some time off, and I might be doing that. But we will be back Sunday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we want you. We didn't talk about it this podcast because we want you know, do your. I don't know. I hate top tens, but do your. You know, we want to talk about your favorite stuff from 2017, and some of the crappy stuff too. But we'll try to skew it towards the positive. I don't know. It doesn't usually get clicks, but that's what I want to talk about. I want, you know, and keep, you know, it could be anything really. Dennis and I don't do top 10 lists. We do our single favorite thing. We pick one thing that we liked, and you know, we have honorable mentions, but yeah, so it's going to be a year in review, you know, whatever, but whatever you guys want to talk about, you can take in direction like you did tonight. Thank you so much, Jody.
Thank you.
And Brian. And Ghost World is gone, and Sloppy B. The time of the stream, Annika. New Year's Eve stream, yes. Annika, thank you so much for watching from
the UK.
The UK, it's like 9 hours different over there.
And
yeah, Rubber Brain went 10,000. I'm trying to scroll up here. I want to mention
Cape Sizzle.
Yeah, Turbo Tyrant. I don't know if anybody's still there, but if we missed you, I'm sorry. But yeah, we'll be back Sunday. You can find all of our videos and podcasts on nerdrotic.com. That's our main site. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and hit the bell. Really appreciate that. Dennis has a Twitter. Please follow him. It's at DaForce, DAFORCE. Mine is at Nerdrotics. If you guys have any requests, put them in the comments, or you can email me. Go to the About section of the Nerdrotic channel here on YouTube, and my email is there. You can email me anything, requests, anything, suggestions, corrections. James, thank you. Yeah, so we're going to wrap it up. Again, thank you so much for watching, guys, and listening to us ramble. Again, this is so much fun. It's crazy.
And Sloppy B, yes, it is going to be Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yes, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll throw out a warning on Twitter, and I usually throw the video, get it prepared like a half an hour earlier. So if you are subscribed, you will get a notification. And I try to give you guys time to and it'll go for however long it goes, kind of like tonight. After Sunday, we will be back recapping some TV. I believe The Gifted is back on Monday.
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day, and then Happy is skipping a week, which makes me very sad because I love that show. If you're not watching Happy, go watch Happy. But the X-Files returns, and Melissa is very excited about that. So am I. And we're going to recap X-Files. Then, of course, there's Friday Night Live, and who knows? We'll talk about some more Black Mirror. We might pop up on Saturday too. Who knows? So just keep an eye out. Dennis, anything else?
No, I just want to say thank you again for everyone. Same thing like Gary said. I'm very, very surprised and happy, that we have over 1,000 subscribers. I didn't think we'd ever, get there. This is a hobby for us. As you can tell, we like to talk because we've been going on now for 3 hours, something like that. It's labor of love, I guess you could say. So lots of fun, and thank you all for hanging out with us and talking to us.
Yeah, it is great. Take us out, man.
Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America and the rest of the world.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
See you Sunday.